The Anunnaki Chronicles. Part 3. The Sixth Tablet. A chronicle in epic prose. The chamber of council was heavy with the gold of torches, each flame shivering upon the polished walls as if reluctant to bear witness to the words that were about to be spoken. Upon high seats draped in woven splendor, the leaders of the Annunaki gathered. They had come wearied from their toil in the Abzu, and the weight of survival pressed upon their brows. It was then that Enki, Lord of deep knowledge, master of the watery abyss, rose from his place. His robes fell about him like the currents of the sea, and his eyes, vast and fathomless, surveyed his kin. His voice, when it came, was low yet thunderous, resonant as if drawn from the caverns of the earth itself. To create a primitive worker by the mark of our essence to fashion him. So is my word unto you, O leaders of the Anunnaki. The being that we need, it already exists. A murmur stirred the chamber. The incredulous bent their brows, some in curiosity, others in suspicion. The silence that followed was thick, as though the walls themselves strained to catch the next syllable. Enki's hands unfolded in revelation. Creatures there are in the Abzu, strange upright walkers. They stride upon two legs as we do. Their forelegs they wield as arms, their hands grasp as ours grasp. Among the wild beasts they dwell, unclothed, untutored, feeding upon herbs, drinking from stream and ditch. Their bodies are clothed in hair as garments, their manes are as lions. With the gazelles they contend, with the creatures of the waters they delight. Yet within them lies the spark, the vessel ready for shaping. With the mingling of our essence and theirs, a worker may be fashioned, a being in our command, who shall bear the toil of gold. The leaders leaned forward, wonder on their faces. Enlil, commander of the Earth mission, shook his head, disbelief heavy in his tone. No such creature has my eyes beheld in the Aden. No such likeness walks where we govern. You speak of phantoms, but Ninmah, great lady of healing, wise mother, lifted her hand and her eyes burned with thought. Not phantoms, my brother. Aeons past upon Nibiru, did not our ancestors resemble such forms? If so, then what Enki speaks is no marvel but remembrance. It is no beast, it is a being. To behold such flesh would stir the soul. Curiosity moved like a wave among them. Enki beckoned with solemn nod, and the leaders followed him down the corridors of stone into the house of life. There, behind bars wrought of strong metal, the beings waited. At sight of the lords of Nibiru, the creatures leapt. Their fists struck the cage with thunderous rhythm, their eyes flashing with a fire unshaped. Grunts and snorts poured from their throats, sounds that groped toward language but never found it. Enki spread his hands. Behold, male and female they are. See, their loins are fashioned as ours. They come together in the manner of life. Already Ningishida, my son, has tested their essence, and lo, it is akin to ours. Two serpents entwined as the tree of life reveals. If joined with our seed, if woven with our life, then upon them shall our mark rest. They shall understand command. They shall wield the tool. They shall descend into the dark mines where our heroes groan. His words fell with passion, and his eyes blazed like copper under flame. But Enlil's countenance grew dark, his voice stern as law. A matter weightier than mountains do you lay before us, my brother. Slavery on Nibiru was long cast aside. Tools, not beings, bear our burdens. You would craft a creature never seen before, born of mingling forbidden. Creation belongs to the Father of all, beginning alone. His words cut like flint, but Enki did not yield. Not slaves, O Enlil. Helpers. The being already lives, already breathes beneath the sun. What I propose is not to make from nothing, but to raise what is low, to gift what is near unto us with a drop of our own essence. Not a new creature, but one akin to our image, shaped with care. Ninmah raised her voice in firm agreement. Yes, to give more ability to what already walks. This is no theft of creation, but the perfecting of what is begun. Why else were we endowed with wisdom, if not to use it? What purpose has our knowledge if it cannot mend our plight? The council was torn as stone between chisel and hammer. Some muttered of destiny, others of transgression. Ninurta, son of Enlil, the warrior of unbending judgment, spoke sternly to his mother. Why must new beings be made, when with tools the work may be eased? Did we not fashion chariots of the skies, weapons that shatter mountains? Let invention relieve our labor, not enslavement of life. Yet Ningishita, keeper of mysteries, spoke with quiet fire. Knowledge cannot be bound. To what end were we given it, if not to shape fate? Destiny is written, yes, but are we not the hands by which destiny is fulfilled? A primitive worker is the path by which survival lies. Their words clashed like blades in the chamber. The air grew heavy with fate's weight. Enlil raised his hand, silencing the uproar. His voice rang as judgment. Is it destiny, or is it our choosing? Are we brought here to sift gold from waters, or to set ourselves in the seat of the beginning? This must not be decided lightly. Thus, the matter was born before Anu, High King of Nibiru. Across the heavens the word was sent, and in the council of elders the debate was long and bitter. Life and death, fate and survival, the rules of heaven and the desperation of earth, these were weighed, and at last the decision was carved. If gold must be, then let the being be fashioned. Let the laws of journeys be bent. Let Nibiru be saved. The message blazed down to earth. Enki's heart leapt like waters freed from stone. Let Ninmah be my helper, she who understands the secret of the womb. He cried, his eyes lingering with unspoken longing upon her face. And Ninmah, after a silence deep as wells, gave answer. Let it so be. Even Enlil bowed his head, though displeasure clouded his gaze. Thus was the fate of the primitive worker sealed. When the word from Anu descended, it swept like flame across the camps of the Anunnaki. By Anugi, commander of the diggings, the decree was proclaimed. His voice carried over the weary ones who bent their backs in the darkness of the mines. Hear now, heroes of Nibiru, until the being is achieved, until the worker is fashioned, willingly must you return to the toil. For a time more your sweat shall be the river, your strength the shovel. Disappointment rose in them like smoke from smoldering fires, yet rebellion there was not, for the hope of relief shone faintly before them, and they bowed to the command, returning to the tunnels of the Abzu. Meanwhile, in the sanctuaries of craft and knowledge, Enki led Ninmah into the mysteries of his house of life. The air there was heavy with the fragrance of herbs, cleansed with waters of purity, and bright with glimmering fires that lit walls of polished stone. Enki spoke with fervor, his hand pointing to what was hidden in shadows. Here is the place of shaping, here is the heart of destiny. Behold, O Ninmah, and consider, for it is to you, wise one, that the secrets must be entrusted. Through corridors they went, until at last they came to a grove-like place, where cages were arrayed beneath tall trees. Strange sounds echoed, half cries, half groans, and the beings within shifted restlessly in their confinement. Ninmah drew near, her eyes narrowing as she beheld them. In the cages were creatures no hunter of the plains nor warrior of the mountains had ever seen. Their forms were monstrous, a mingling of kinds that seemed at once familiar and alien. Some bore the foreparts of one beast and the hind parts of another. Some twisted together in shapes that seemed the cruel jest of nature. They pressed their faces to the bars, their breaths hot and foul, their eyes wild with confusion. Ninmah's lips parted, and her voice trembled between wonder and horror. These are abominations, odd beyond measure, monstrous. What hands have done this thing? Enki's gaze was steady, his voice grave yet determined. Indeed so, Lady of Healing, yet such are the experiments of life, cast aside as drafts upon the tablets of creation. To reach perfection, trial must walk beside failure. For this reason you are needed, for your hands hold the wisdom of shaping, your heart the knowledge of birth. He led her away from the cages into a chamber that shone with brightness as though the sun itself had been trapped within. It was a clean place, where no dust clung, and in it stood Ningishita, Enki's son, the keeper of secrets. Before him were laid the holy Mies, tablets of the divine order, upon which the formulas of life were written. Symbols like stars and flowing rivers glowed upon their surfaces. With careful voice, Ningishida explained, "See here, great lady, the essence of life is entwined in strands, like serpents coiled in embrace. Two entwined become one, separating, joining, weaving anew. Thus offspring are fashioned. Thus the seed of one mingles with the vessel of another." He pointed with slender finger to the glowing signs, revealing how essence could be joined, how much of one, how much of another, and in what womb the union must be sealed. Ninmah bent over the tablets, her eyes tracing the mysteries. She remembered the daughters she had borne by Enki, long past in the days of their union. A shadow of a smile crossed her lips, mingling memory with resolve. Enki's voice, low and insistent, filled the chamber. "Thus it must be done, Lady of Life, in which womb conception shall begin, in which womb birth shall be given. This knowledge lies with you. None among us has borne life as you have. Only with your succor, with your healing wisdom, shall the task be fulfilled." Ninmah lifted her head, her gaze traveling to the cages of the wild two-legged creatures, the ones who stood erect, whose faces seemed but a shadow's breadth away from her own. She studied their bodies, their loins, the mystery of their flesh. Slowly she spoke, her words bold as thunder. By the joining of essences, offspring are fashioned. "Let it be so here. Let a male of the Anunnaki take a female of these two-legged beings. Let her womb be the vessel. Let a child be born from their mingling." Her declaration hung in the air, mighty as a new law. But Enki shook his head, sorrow and weariness in his eyes. His voice was heavy, carrying the weight of many failed attempts. "Alas, lady, already have we tried this path. Already have males of our kind lain with females of this earth, yet no fruit was conceived, no child was born. The womb rejected the seed, the life was not kindled, there was no conceiving, there was no birth." And upon that note of despair, the chamber fell silent, as though even the flames withheld their crackle, waiting for what destiny would decree. The birth of the primitive worker. Now this is the account of how the primitive worker was created, how Enki and Ninmah, with Ningishida assisting, the being was fashioned. In the house of life, where sacred vessels glimmered with crystal light, and the fragrance of incense and herbs thickened the air, the three great ones gathered. Ninmah stood tall, her eyes fierce with determination, her healer's hands folded across her breast, her voice, low yet resolute, cut through the chamber. Another way the admixture of essences must be tried. The two strands of life must combine by another path. That which from the earth is the portion must not be harmed. To receive our essence, it must be shaped in graduations. From the ME formulas of Nibiru's essence, only bit by bit may it be attempted. Enki's eyes gleamed, bright as copper aflame. Ningishida bent close to the tablets of destiny, the sacred Mies spread before him like maps of stars. Together they nodded. The risk was great, but so was the promise. In a crystal vessel, transparent as frozen water, Ninmah prepared the admixture. Carefully she took the oval, the life egg of a female two-legged creature of earth. She cradled it as a mother would cradle her child. With hands steady as stone, yet tender as dawn light, she placed the oval in the vessel. From the sacred formula she drew forth the seed of Anunnaki essence, containing the measure of their being. Into the oval she implanted it. Then, whispering invocations none but she could speak, Ninmah returned the fertilized egg into the womb of the two-legged female. Enki's breath caught. Ningishida's eyes narrowed with the weight of knowledge. This time there was conceiving. A life stirred. A birth was forthcoming. The leaders waited, their hearts as taut as bowstrings. Days lengthened, shadows stretched. They walked the chamber floors with restless feet. They spoke little. They listened for whispers of life. At last the appointed time arrived. But when the two-legged female's hour of travail came, There was no birth-giving. Her body faltered, her cries were strained. Fear struck them like a storm. In desperation, Ninmah seized her bronze instruments. With a steady hand and anguish in her heart, she made a cutting. With tongs she reached into the womb and drew out that which had been conceived. A hush fell like thunder withheld. In her hand she held a newborn. A living being it was. Enki's cry broke the silence, wild with triumph. "We attain!" Ningishida's voice rang with joy. A life, a being. But Ninmah's face did not brighten. She studied the child, her heart heavy. Shaggy with hair all over was the newborn. His foreparts were like the wild creatures of earth, coarse and rough, yet his hind parts bore resemblance to the Anunnaki, slender and strong. They placed the child upon the breast of the two-legged female, who nursed him with her milk. The newborn grew fast, swift as the river's flood. What on Nibiru was a single day, in the Abzu became a month. He grew taller, stronger, yet the likeness of the Anunnaki was not in him. His hands were clumsy, unfit for tools. His voice was nothing but grunts and growls. Ninmah shook her head. "We must try once more. The admixture needs adjusting. Let me essay the emes. With this or that formula, let us make the endeavor anew." So once more she prepared the vessel. With Enki and Ningishida beside her, she studied the Emi formulas as one who reads constellations in the sky. One bit from one bit from another, she took and arranged. Into the crystal vessel, the oval of an earth female, she inseminated. There was conception. At the appointed time, birth came. This child was more in the likeness of the Anunnaki, his limbs more shapely. They let his birth mother suckle him and watched as he grew into childhood. He was appealing to look upon. His hands could grasp tools, his limbs were strong, but when they tested his senses, sorrow struck. His ears heard not, his eyes saw dimly, faltering in the light. Again and again Ninmah altered the admixtures. From the Emi formulas she took bits and fragments, ever adjusting, ever combining. One child came with paralyzed feet. Another dripped seed ceaselessly, his strength wasted. One's hands trembled as with palsy. Another's liver faltered, his life ebbing swiftly. One had hands too short to reach his mouth. Another's lungs gasped, unfit for breathing. Enki watched each failure with darkened brow. His voice grew bitter. A primitive worker is not attained. What is good or bad in these beings I learn only by trials. This is no triumph. This is sorrow. But Ninmah's eyes blazed. To continue, my heart prompts me. For success waits, hidden yet within the clay. Once more she prepared an admixture. Once more a child was born. And once more the newborn was deficient. Then Enki, deep in thought, lifted his hand. Perchance the shortfall is not in the admixture. Perchance neither in the female's oval nor in the essence itself is the hindrance of what the earth itself is fashioned. Perchance that is what is missing. Not of Nibiru's crystals must we use the vessel, of the clay of earth itself make it. His eyes burned with the fire of discovery. Perchance what is earth's own admixture of gold and copper mingled is required. Thus shall the being truly be of this world. Ninmah listened, her healer's heart moved. So in the house of life she fashioned a vessel, not of crystal, but of the clay of the Abzu. She shaped it as a purifying bath, sanctified with cleansing waters. Gently she placed within it the oval of an earth female. Into the vessel she poured the life essence of an Anunnaki, drawn from his blood. By the Me formulas, Ningishida guided her, adding bit by bit the sacred measures. Then the oval thus fertilized Ninmah placed within the womb of the earth female. At once her eyes shone. "There is conception!" she cried. The leaders waited. At the allotted time, travail began. The earth female groaned and bore down. A newborn came forth. With her own hands, Ninmah lifted him from the womb. A male child he was. She studied his image, and her heart leapt. It was the image of perfection. Enki and Ningishida stood at her side, And when they beheld him, laughter and joy overtook them. They embraced, they backslapped, they kissed. Enki's eyes gleamed like polished bronze. "Your hands have made it," he said to Ninmah. The earth female suckled the child, and swiftly he grew, swifter than a child of Nibiru. Month by month he advanced, strong of limb, able of hand. But when he opened his mouth, no words came. Speech he knew not, only grunts and snorts escaped him. Enki pondered, walking in silence, recalling each step, each admixture. At last he spoke. "Of all we tried and altered, one thing was never changed. Into the womb of the earth female, the fertilized oval was always inserted. Perchance this is the obstruction." Ninmah's eyes widened. "What in truth are you saying?" Enki met her gaze, steady and grave. "Of the womb I speak, of who nurtures the oval, who carries to birth. In our image and after our likeness, perchance an Anunnaki womb is required." The chamber fell silent. Never before had such words been uttered. They looked upon one another, their thoughts mirrored, their hearts burdened. At last Ninmah whispered, "Wise are your words, my brother. Perhaps the right admixture has been placed in the wrong womb. Yet who among the Anunnaki will offer her womb to create the primitive worker or to birth a monster?" Her voice trembled like a harp string. Enki bowed his head. "Let me ask of Ninki, my spouse. Let her come to the house of life, that we may lay this matter before her." He turned to depart, but Ninmah seized his shoulder. "No, no, the admixtures were made by me. The reward and the danger must be mine. I shall be the one to offer my womb. For good or for evil, let fate fall upon me." Enki embraced her, his face grave yet tender. "So be it," he said. Once more they made the admixture. In the clay vessel of the Abzu's earth, they mingled the oval of a two-legged female with the seed of an Anunnaki male. Then Enki, with steady hand, placed the fertilized egg into Ninmah's womb. There was conception. They waited in wonder. Would it be 9 months of Nibiru? 9 months of earth? None could say. But sooner than on Nibiru, longer than on earth, her travail came. In sweat and anguish Ninmah bore down. At last a cry pierced the chamber. A male child had been born. Enki lifted him in his arms. The child's form was radiant, his limbs flawless, his image that of perfection. Enki slapped the boy upon his hind parts, and lo! The newborn uttered proper sounds. He handed him to Ninmah. She held him aloft, her face shining with triumph. Her voice rang through the house of life. "My hands have made it, the fashioning of Adamu and Tiamat." Now this is the account of how Adamu by name was called, and how Tiamat as a counterpart female for him was fashioned. The chamber of the house of life was hushed, heavy with incense that coiled like smoke of sacrifice. The air itself seemed to wait as the leaders gathered close around the newborn form. In their faces was wonder, in their hearts an awe too deep for words. The child lay upon the cloth of pure linen. The newborn's visage and limbs the leaders carefully examined. Of good shape were his ears, his eyes were not clogged, his limbs were proper, hind parts like legs, fore parts like hands were shaped. He was not shaggy as the wild ones roaming the plains, his body not covered in coarse hair. Dark black his head hair was, thick and lustrous, smooth was his skin, smooth as the Anunnaki skin it was. Its hue was like dark red blood, like the clay of the Abzu, rich and earthen, alive with warmth. They looked at his malehood. Odd was its shape. By a skin was its foreparts surrounded, unlike that of the Anunnaki malehood it was. A sheath of flesh hung over its crown, a covering that set him apart. Let the earthling from us Anunnaki by this foreskin be distinguished. So was Enki saying, his eyes gleaming with both pride and foresight. The newborn began to cry, his small lungs filling the chamber with the raw music of life. Ninmah, her heart overcome, drew him close against her chest. She pressed him to her breast, and the child, as though remembering an ancient instinct, began to suckle. Perfection we did attain, Ningishzida declared, elation ringing in his voice. Enki's gaze lingered not on the child but on Ninmah herself. He saw not his sister now, nor a mere healer of wounds, but a mother holding her son. In her arms was not a creature of clay and essence, but a being, one born of toil, of wisdom, of daring hope. "A name will you give him?" Enki inquired softly. "A being he is, not a creature." Ninmah bent her head over the infant. Her hand moved gently across his body, her fingers caressing his dark red skin as though to seal his life with her touch. "Adamu I shall call him," Ninmah was saying. "One who like earth's clay is, that will be his name. For Adamu they fashioned a crib of wood and reeds, lining it with soft hides. In a corner of the house of life they placed him, watched over by the eyes of those who had waited long for this moment. A model for primitive workers we have indeed attained," Enki was saying, satisfaction in his tone. "Now a host of workers like him are needed," Ningishida reminded his elders, ever the practical one, his gaze sharp upon the future. "A model indeed he shall be," Enki decreed. "As for himself, like a firstling he shall be treated. From toil he himself shall be protected, his essence alone as a mold shall be." By this word Ninmah was greatly pleased, for she loved the child as more than a mold, as flesh of her flesh, spirit of her spirit, whose wombs henceforth the fertilized ovule shall carry, Ningishida asked, ever the questioner. The leaders pondered. The chamber was heavy with thought, and then Ninmah, rising, offered a solution. From her city Shurabak, she summoned female healers, women skilled in the mysteries of life. To them she explained the task required, her voice solemn yet pleading. Then to the crib of Adamu she led them, that their eyes might see, their hearts might decide. To perform the task is not a commandment, Ninmah told them, her tone both grave and compassionate. Your own wish is the decision. The women stood in silence, the weight of destiny upon them. And then, one by one, 7 stepped forward. 7, the task accepted. Let their names for all time be remembered, Ninmah declared to Enki. Their task is heroic. By them a race of primitive workers shall come into being. The 7 announced their names, their voices steady though their hearts trembled. Ninima, Shuziana, Ninmada, Ninbara, Ninmug, Ninguna. Ningishida recorded them carefully, inscribing them into the eternal memory. These were the 7 heroines who by their own will became birth mothers, earthlings in their wombs to conceive and bear, primitive workers to create. In 7 vessels of clay from the Abzu, Ninmah placed the ovules of 2-legged females. From Adamu's life essence she extracted bit by bit, inserting it into the vessels. Then upon the male part of Adamu she made an incision, letting forth a drop of blood. Let this a sign of life be, Ninmah proclaimed, that flesh and soul have combined, let it forever proclaim. She pressed the flesh until the blood welled again, squeezing drop by drop. Into each vessel she added the blood, binding earthling and Annunaki in one kinship. In this clay's admixture, earthling with the Annunaki shall be bound, Ninmah declared. She raised her voice in an incantation, solemn as a priestess at the dawn of creation. To a unity shall the 2 essences, one of heaven, one of earth, together be brought. That which is of earth and that which is from Nibiru, by a blood kinship shall be bonded. So was Ninmah pronouncing, and Ningishida inscribed her words with reverence. Into the wombs of the 7 heroines the fertilized ovules were inserted. There was conception. With trembling anticipation the days were counted. At the allotted time birth-givings came. At the allotted time 7 male earthlings were born. Their features were proper, their forms true. Good sounds they uttered, the raw beginnings of voice. By the heroines they were suckled, nourished with milk of devotion. 7 primitive workers have been created, Ningishida proclaimed. Let the procedure be repeated, he urged. 7 more the toil to undertake. But Enki, grave in counsel, turned to his son. My son, he said, not even 7 by 7 sufficient shall be. Of heroine healers too much is required, Forever their task this way shall be. Ninmah too spoke, her voice weary yet resolute. Indeed, the task is too demanding, slow beyond enduring it is. Then Enki's eyes shone with a new thought. Female ones we have to fashion, he declared, for males' counterparts to be. Let them know each other, as one flesh the two to become. Let them by themselves procreate, on their own the childbirthing make. To primitive workers by themselves give birth, Anunnaki females to relieve. He turned to Ningishzida. The ME formulas you must change, from male to female adjustment make. But Ningishzida was cautious. For a counterpart to Adamu to be fashioned, he said, in the womb of an Anunnaki female conception is needed. His words fell heavy, and silence gripped the chamber. Enki's eyes lifted to Ninmah, his gaze speaking more than words. But before she could speak, he raised his hand. Let me this time Ninki, my spouse, summon, Enki declared with strong voice. If she is willing, let her the mold for the female earthling create. So Ninki was summoned from the Abzu to the house of life. They showed her Adamu, and all that mattered they explained. Of the task required they spoke. Of success and danger they gave account. By the task Ninki was fascinated. Let it be done, she said, wonder brightening her eyes. By the ME formulas, Ningishzida made adjustment. By the admixture, an oval was fertilized. Into the womb of Ninki, Enki's spouse, it was inserted. With great care did Enki himself perform the act. There was conception. Days passed into moons, the moons into more. In the allotted time, Ninki travailed, yet no birth came. She counted the months. Ninmah counted the months. The 10th month came, and they called it a month of evil fates. Then Ninmah, she whose hand wombs has opened, took the cutter. Her head she covered, protection she wore upon her hands. With skill born of long practice, she made the opening. Her face at once was brightened. That which was in the womb from the womb came forth. A female birth was given. Ninmah cried with joy to Ninki. The newborn's visage and limbs they carefully examined. Of good shape were her ears, her eyes not clogged. Her limbs were proper, hind parts like legs, fore parts like hands were shaped. Shaggy she was not. Her skin was smooth as that of the Anunnaki. Ninmah held the girl child in her hands. She slapped her hind parts, and proper sounds the newborn uttered. To Ninki, the spouse of Enki, Ninmah handed the child that she might suckle, nourish, and raise her. A name will you give her? Enki inquired of his spouse. A being she is, not a creature. In your image she is, and after your likeness. Perfectly she is fashioned. A model for female workers you have attained. Ninki placed her hand upon the newborn's body, caressing her skin with gentle fingers. Tiamat let her name be. The mother of life, Ninki was saying. Like the planet of old, of which the earth and the moon were fashioned, let her be called. From her womb's life essences, other birth givers shall be molded. To a multitude of primitive workers she thereby life will be giving. Thus was Ninki speaking, and the others gave words of concurring. And so it was. Adamu and Tiamat, first of the earthlings, stood as the beginning of a race. The account of Adamu and Tiamat in the Eden. Now is the account of Adamu and Tiamat in the Eden, and of how the knowing of procreation was given to them, and how by decree they were expelled into the Abzu. After Tiamat was fashioned in the womb of Ninki, and her limbs and visage declared proper and fair, the great lady Ninmah turned once more to the vessels of clay. In 7 vessels of the clay of the Abzu, finely prepared, she placed the ovals of the 2-legged females. The life essence of Tiamat she drew forth bit by bit, and into the vessel she carefully inserted it, whispering incantations as the procedure befits, calling upon heaven and earth to be bound in unity. In the wombs of the birth-giving heroines, the fertilized ovals were placed. There was conception. With all the allotted time was counted. And in the fullness of months the birth-givings occurred. 7 female earthlings were born. Their forms were pleasing to behold. Their ears were shaped rightly. Their eyes were clear. their cries strong and their limbs unblemished. They were suckled at the breasts of the heroines. Their skin was smooth, their hair was varied, their voices were the utterance of life. Thus were the counterparts of the males provided. 7 male and 7 female did the 4 leaders create, so that the design of the primitive worker might be fulfilled. Then Enki spoke before the assembly. Now that the earthlings are created, let the males the females inseminate. Let the primitive workers by themselves offspring beget. In the course of time offspring of offspring shall be born, and plentiful shall be their numbers. The burden of toil shall be upon them, and the labor of the Anunnaki shall be relieved. At these words there was rejoicing. Enki and Ninki, Ninma, and Ningishida lifted their cups. The fruit's elixir they drank in gladness. For the 7 males and 7 females they prepared cages, set among the trees in a place of greenery. There they were placed, to grow together, to attain malehood and femalehood in due season. Let them together grow. Let the males the females inseminate. Let them by themselves offspring beget. So were the leaders to one another, saying, But as for Adamu and Tiamat, the first of their kind, the mold of the design, they were not placed with the others. From the toil of the excavations they were protected. Let us bring them to the Eden, Enki declared. Let us display to the Anunnaki in the highlands our handiwork. To this the others agreed. So Adamu and Tiamat were brought to Eridu, the city of Enki in the Eden. An enclosure was built for them with trees and streams, a place to dwell and to roam therein. The Anunnaki of the Eden came to gaze upon them. From the landing place they came, and Lil himself came, and at the sight his displeasure was lessened. Ninurta came, and Ninlil with him. From Lamu descended Marduk, son of Enki, eager to see this wonder, and all who beheld Adamu and Tiamat were astonished. It is a marvel most astounding, they said, a wonder of wonders to behold. The work of your hands has fashioned this. Even the Ijiji, who journeyed between Lamu and earth, were filled with awe. Primitive workers have been fashioned. Our days of toil are ended, they cried. Meanwhile, in the Abzu, the newborns grew. Their maturing the Anunnaki awaited with impatience, for still the burden of labor pressed heavily upon them. Enki supervised the matter. Ninma came often, and Ningishida as well. But in the shafts of the Abzu the Anunnaki murmured. Grumbling rose to anger, and patience turned to mutiny. Anugi, the overseer of the miners, came before Enki again and again. Where are the primitive workers? When will they relieve us of our burden? So did he cry. But the circuits of earth increased. The moons waxed and waned, and the earthlings grew but did not conceive. The females bore no children. The males coupled with them, yet there was no birth-giving. Ningishida, wise in the mysteries of the flesh, made for himself a couch of grass by the cages. Day and night he observed the earthlings, watching their deeds in the quiet of the trees. He saw the males approach the females. He saw their coupling, yet no conceiving was brought forth. No new life stirred in their wombs. Enki pondered the matter deeply. He remembered the combining of the essences, the mixing of 2 kinds, and he sighed. None, not one of them, has begotten offspring. By the mingling of 2 kinds, a flaw was created. A curse lies upon them. Ningishida then spoke. Let us examine afresh the essences of Adamu and Tiamat. Let us study their means bit by bit. Thus we may learn what is amiss. In Shubak, in the house of healing, the essences of Adamu and Tiamat were laid open to inquiry. Beside them were placed the essences of Anunnaki males and females. Like 2 entwined serpents, Ningishida separated the strands. Upon a great tablet he arranged them, like 22 branches upon the tree of life. Their parts he compared, their likenesses he marked. 22 they were in number, and yet the power of procreation was not among them. See, Ningishida cried, among the Anunnaki are 2 additional branches. one male, one female. Without them there is no conceiving, no birth giving. In Adamu and Tiamat they were not included. Ninmah, hearing, was distraught. Her heart was pierced with grief. Enki was seized with frustration, for once more their work was thwarted. The clamor in the Abzu is great, Enki declared. Mutiny is rising. Primitive workers must be procured, or the gold mining shall cease. Then Ningishida, cunning and wise, proposed a hidden solution. To Enki and Ninmah he whispered in the house of healing. The assisting heroines were dismissed, the doors were shut, and only Enki, Ninmah, Ningishida, with Adamu and Tiamat remained within. Ningishida cast a deep sleep upon the four, the two leaders, the two creatures. Unfeeling they lay, their breath slow, their bodies still. Then Ningishida worked his art. From the rib of Enki he drew forth the life essence, and into the rib of Adamu he inserted it. From the rib of Ninmah he drew forth the life essence, and into the rib of Tiamat he inserted it. Where he had cut, he sealed the flesh. The wounds closed, and the life within was stirred. Then Ningishida awakened them. Behold, he said with pride, it is done. 2 branches have been added to their tree of life. With procreation their essence is now entwined. Let them freely roam, Ninmah declared. Let them know one another as one flesh. So Adamu and Tiamat were placed in the orchards of the Aden. They roamed freely among the trees, but soon they beheld themselves with new eyes. Of their nakedness they became aware. They saw malehood and femalehood. Tiamat wove aprons of leaves for them, that they might be set apart from the wild beasts. One day, when the sun was high, and Lil strolled in the orchard, enjoying the shade of the trees, without forethought he encountered Adamu and Tiamat. He beheld the aprons upon their loins, and he marveled. What is the meaning of this? He demanded. Enki was summoned to explain. Then Enki revealed the truth. The 7 and 7 failed. No conceiving came forth. Ningishida examined their essences and saw that 2 parts were missing. Therefore he added them, that procreation might be possible. At this great was Enlil's fury. The whole thing was never to my liking. I opposed from the beginning this play at creation. The being we need already exists. All that was required was to mark it with our image. But you, Enki, pursued your own devices. The heroines risked their very lives. Ninmah was endangered, Ninki was endangered, and all to no avail. Now the last portion of our own essence you have given to these creatures. You have made them like us in knowing procreation. Will you also grant them our long life? Thus did Enlil thunder. Enki sought to pacify him. Ningishida spoke with reverence. My lord Enlil, only the knowing of procreation have they been given. The branch of long living is not among them. Ninmah too spoke, her voice resolute. What choice was left, my brother? To let all end in failure? To leave Nibiru to its fate of doom? Or to strive to try again and again, that earthlings might beget children, and take upon themselves the toil? But Enlil's wrath was not softened. Then let them be where they are needed, he decreed. To the Abzu away from the Eden, let them be expelled. And so it was pronounced. The 7th tablet, the proliferation of the earthlings and the storms of heaven. To the Abzu, away from the Aden, let them be expelled. So did Enlil, Lord of Command, thunder forth the decree. His eyes, stern and heavy with the weight of destiny, did not soften as the words struck the council chamber like a hammer blow. What had been wrought by Enki and by Ninmah and by Ningishida was now to be cast out of the Aden away from the sacred precinct where the Anunnaki dwelt in splendor. Thus, with no appeal from the meadows and orchards of Eden were Adamu and Tiamat expelled. Enki, though his heart was laden with sorrow, did not resist the command. Gently as a shepherd drives his flock, he guided the 2 beings eastward, away from the sacred places, into the wild Abzu. There, amid thickets and tall trees, he raised for them an enclosure. Within its bounds they might roam. There they would know each other as male and female, unbound by Anunnaki hand. And lo, with joy Enki beheld what Ningishida's art had accomplished. Tiamat, radiant with life, was heavy with child. She walked with a lightness. her face shining with secret laughter, as though the very earth beneath her feet pulsed in harmony with the quickening within her womb. When her time was fulfilled, Ninmah herself came down to watch the birth-giving. Her hands trembled with a mixture of dread and hope, for never before had earth itself borne such a marvel. And behold, from Tiamat's womb came forth not one child but two, male and female twins bound together in destiny, a son and a daughter. With wonder did Ninmah gaze upon them. Their skin was softer than the wild beings of the steppe, their eyes held light, their cries were strong. Enki too marveled, his heart swelled with triumph and with love. "How swiftly they grow," Ninmah whispered in awe as days became months, and months in Earth's count were as years in Nibiru's measure. The twins blossomed like young trees in spring. By the time other sons and daughters were born to Adamu and Tiamat, these firstborn were already procreating by themselves. Before one full shar of Nibiru's circuit had passed, earthlings were multiplying like shoots after the rains. The toil of the Anunnaki lifted. And so it was, the primitive workers were endowed with understanding. Of commandments they were comprehending. The words of the Anunnaki they obeyed. For food rations they toiled eagerly. In heat and in dust they did not falter. Of back-breaking burdens they did not grumble. The Anunnaki marveled. Of hardships they do not complain. The gold of the Abzu is flowing once more. The toil of the Anunnaki was lightened. The vital essence of gold was again rising toward the heavens, where ships bore it to Nibiru. Slowly, its torn atmosphere was healing, and the mission to Earth seemed blessed. The children of the Anunnaki. But not only the earthlings were multiplying, among the Anunnaki themselves, those who from heaven to earth had come, desire grew also. Espousing and procreation they too undertook. The sons of Enlil and of Enki, taking to them sisters and half-sisters, even heroines of healing, brought forth sons and daughters upon the earth. Though their life cycles were of Nibiru's measure, yet on earth they were quickened. A child who on Nibiru would lie still in swaddling clothes, on earth already ran laughing upon the grass. A babe who would only crawl beneath the red skies of Nibiru here leapt as a toddler. And great was the joy when to Nanar and Ningal a son and daughter were born, twins of beauty and promise. Inanna and Utu were they named. Thus did the third generation of Anunnaki arise upon earth, bright as new stars in the firmament, the changing face of the earth. Yet as life blossomed, the earth herself grew restless. The warmth was rising, the fields flourished with heavy grain, wild beasts multiplied and overran the land. The rains fell harder, the rivers swelled, their torrents tearing at the foundations of abodes which needed mending again and again. The heat increased, the snow-white places at the earth's tips were melting, the bars of the seas broke, the oceans leapt their bounds. From deep within, volcanoes roared, belching fire and brimstone. The ground trembled and shook, as though the earth grumbled beneath her own burden. In the lower world, in the places of snow-white hues, there too the earth muttered and cracked. At the tip of the Abzu Enki raised the station of observing, and to Nergal his son, and to Ereshkigal his spouse, he gave command thereof. A thing unknown, Nergal warned his father, an untoward thing is brewing here below, portents in the heavens. Meanwhile, in Nibruki, the bond heaven earth, Enlil himself studied the heavens. With tablets of destiny and with the emes of celestial wisdom he compared the motions. And he cried out to Enki, "Brother, there is turmoil in the heavens. The circuits are restless, the order unsettled." From Lamu, the way station of Mars, Marduk beamed his complaint. Strong winds scour the plains. Dust storms darken the skies. Father, the hammered bracelet itself is in turmoil. Its stones break loose, havoc it brings, and upon earth too the skies answered with fury. Brimstones fell blazing from above, bursting into flames like torches cast from the heavens. Demons without pity stormed through the skies, hurling fiery stones upon earth and Lamu, and even upon the face of Kingu, the moon. The three were pocked and scarred, their visages forever marred. Darkness fell at midday, the heavens shook with storm and evil wind. Council of the Anunnaki. Enlil and Enki raised their voices in alarm, sending urgent words to Anu, the king, and to the savants of Nibiru. Earth and moon and Lamu face calamity unknown. The savants answered, but their words did not soothe. The family of the sun is in great upheaval. One by one the celestials take their stations. Nibiru itself nears the sun's abode. Distracted by the seven arrayed in a row, it has missed its appointed path. In the hammered bracelet, its mighty bar was broken, pieces scattered. Lahamu herself has abandoned her station and is drawn toward Nibiru, wishing to be queen of heaven. To quell her, Nibiru summoned forth a monstrous being from the celestial deep, a dragon of flame, a remnant from the days of the celestial battle. Awakened from its slumber, it stretched across the heavens, its head a league in measure, its body 50 leagues, its tail terrible to behold. By day it darkened the skies of earth, by night it cast shadow upon the moon. "Who will stop this dragon?" Lahamu cried to her brothers. Only valiant Kingu the moon rose to answer. Fierce was the clash. Clouds boiled. Quake shook the moon. The very heavens trembled. But at last the havoc was calmed. Nibiru, its passage complete, turned again toward the deep. Lahamu returned to her place. The raining stones ceased. The celestial tablets, the moon journeyed. Forth like a storm did Kingu hasten to intercept the dragon in its wrathful path. A tempest of clouds he summoned, fierce and whirling, hurling them as a shield before him. But the might of Nibiru was unrelenting. Its roar was as the voice of 1,000 thunders, its brilliance like lightning that knows no end. Upon Kingu the dragon descended, its foundations shook, its core trembled from the violence of that impact. The moon itself quaked, shuddering as though it would split apart. The heavens themselves staggered under the blow. Then at last the havoc was calm. The clamor subsided. Nibiru, the wanderer, withdrew, retreating once more to its distant abode in the deep. The heavens breathed again. The celestial fields were quieted. Upon Lahamu, the dwelling was preserved. It did not abandon its course. The raining stones, the fiery missiles, ceased their onslaught upon the earth and Lahmu. When calm had returned, the lords gathered in council. Enki stood with Enlil, and with them were Marduk and Ninurta. Together they beheld the scars of the clash. Across the breadth of earth they journeyed, surveying the havoc that was wrought. Enki descended where the foundations of the world had been shaken. He measured the depths of the seas, plumbed the abyss of waters, examined the broken platforms of land. He scanned the far corners where mountains of gold and copper stood. Then he lifted his voice, his words a balm. Of the vital gold there will be no shortage. Thus he reassured the company. In the aid, Ninurta too became a surveyor. He soared in his sky ship over trembling mountains and valleys rent with cracks. From the heights he peered downward, his heart heavy with awe. The landing platform is intact, he declared. Yet in the valleys of the north the earth pours forth fiery liquids. Sulfuric mists and dark bitumens are unleashed upon the land. Thus to his father Enlil he reported. On Lahmu, Marduk surveyed the scene and sorrowed. The atmosphere was thin and broken, the dust storms fierce, disrupting life and work. To Enki he turned, his eyes burning with youthful longing. To earth return I wish. Thus did he disclose his heart to his father. Enlil, brooding upon olden plans, summoned them all again. The designs of the ancients he unfurled upon the crystal tablet, its patterns gleaming like frozen starlight. He spoke with force. A chariot place in the Eden must be established. The path from the landing place to Lamu is no longer certain. From earth itself must the ascent be made directly toward Nibiru. So it is decreed. 80 showers had passed since first the Anunnaki splashed down upon earth's waters. So was the count of time. Thus began the account of the journey to the moon, the companion of earth, by Enki and his son Marduk. and how Enki, gazing from those heights, marked the three ways of heaven and set the constellations in order. The debate of the chariot place. Ninurta, commander of Bad Tibira, spoke with measured voice, "Let the place of the chariots rise near Bad Tibira, the city of metal. There shall the gold be smelted and refined, and from thence let it be borne directly to Nibiru." Enlil, his father, gave heed. His heart swelled with pride at the wisdom of his son. Straightway he conveyed the plan to Anu the king, sending words across the heavens. "Let a place of celestial chariots be established in the Aden. Let it be near the smelters, that pure gold may be dispatched directly to Nibiru. Let also the chariots bring supplies and heroes in their return." Enki too was summoned, and he bowed to Anu with words that were both assent and warning. "Of great merit is my brother's plan, yet within it lies a snare. The pull of earth is far greater than Lamu's. To ascend from its grip shall exhaust our powers. Let us not rush blindly to this fate. Let us seek another way. See, the earth has a companion, the moon. Small is its pull, easy is ascent and descent. Let us consider it as a way station. Let me and Marduk thereto journey, and its secrets uncover." The words were carried to Anu. The king summoned his counselors and the savants. Before them both plans were laid. Their answer was one: "Let the moon be first examined." And Anu confirmed it, beaming his decision across the void to Enki and Enlil. "Let the moon be first examined." The journey to the moon. Great was Enki's joy. From his youth the moon had been his enchantment. By night he watched its silver coolness, bewitched by its waxing and waning, the eternal dance it played with the sun. What secrets from the beginning it concealed, he longed to know. Now at last he would tread upon its face. With Marduk he entered the rocket ship. They roared aloft, and thrice they circled the moon, beholding the deep wound left by the dragon's clash. They descended into a place of rolling hills, their ship settling in silence amidst the barrens. From there the earth they could behold, suspended like a jeweled globe in the blackness. They donned eagles' helmets, for the air was too thin for breathing. Light of step they were, striding with ease, exploring the silence of desolation, but the sight grieved Marduk. Unlike Lamu this place is. It is dry, desolate, the handiwork of the dragon's evil. For a way station it is unsuitable. Let us return to earth. But Enki, ever the dreamer, stayed him with gentle words. "Do not be hasty, my son. Are you not enchanted by this celestial dance, earth, moon, and sun together? Here is unobstructed the viewing of the heavens. Behold, the earth hangs in the void, sustained by nothing. Here can we scan the distant stars. Here can we measure the handiwork of the Creator of all. Let us remain, let us observe the circuits of moon and earth, the weaving of day and month, of year and season." So did Enki's words persuade him. Together they made their dwelling in the rocket ship, remaining for a circuit of earth, for 3 circuits of the moon. They measured its motion, reckoned the length of a month. For 6 circuits of earth, 12 circuits of the sun, they recorded a year. They studied the paths of Mumu and Lahamu, the dance of earth and moon within the 2nd quarter of the sun. The ways of heaven. Enki spoke with awe to his son. 6 are the celestials of the lower waters, moon, earth, Lamu, and the companions beyond. 6 are the celestials of the upper waters beyond the hammered bracelet, Anshar and Kishar, Anu and Nudimut, Gaga and Nibiru. 12 are they in all, the family of the sun complete. Marduk, ever questioning, inquired, "Why, O my father, have 7 celestials taken places in a row?" Enki pondered the grand band of the sun's family. He marked the earth and moon upon his chart and outlined the width of the heavens wherein Nibiru coursed. "This shall be called the way of Anu," he declared, naming the great band of the ecliptic. They gazed upon the stars, grouped in patterns and images. Enki marked 12 constellations, pairing each with one of the sun's family. Below the way of Anu he marked another band, the way of Enki. Above it he named the way of Enlil. 36 constellations in 3 ways he established, that Nibiru's approach and departure be ever known. Enki spoke with pride. When I came to earth, the station of the fishes was ending. Therefore I named it so. The one that followed I named by my own title, He of the Waters. The Lament of Marduk. Marduk bowed his head, his voice trembling. Your wisdom embraces the heavens. Your teachings extend my knowledge. Yet on earth and on Nibiru, rulership is divided. When the primitive worker was to be fashioned, you summoned not my mother, but Ninma, mother of Ninurta. Not I, but Ningishida, my younger, did you call to your side. With them you shared the secrets of life and death. Not with me. You are Anu's firstborn, yet Enlil is the legal heir. You were the first to splash down, to establish Eridu, yet Eridu is in Enlil's domain. I am your firstborn, born of your spouse upon Nibiru, yet supremacy is denied me. Ninurta holds the gold. By his hand survival is secured. What of me? What task shall be mine? Am I fated for kingship and fame, or for humiliation once more? Agony pierced his voice. His father Enki embraced him in silence. Then upon the desolate moon he made a solemn vow. That which was denied to me, your future lot shall be. Your celestial time will come. A station adjoining mine shall be yours. And thus father and son bound themselves with promise beneath the still heavens of the moon. The chronicles of Sippar, the place of the chariots. Long had father and son been absent from the earth, circling in the void. Their presence felt only as whispers among the Ijiji of Lamu and the Anunnaki laborers of the Eden. Many circuits of the earth had passed, and yet no plans were fully carried into being. Turmoil raged on Lamu, dust storms whipped through the way station, the Ijiji uncertain and agitated. Enlil, troubled, sent secret words to Anu across the great distance of Nibruki. His tone was stern, his concern heavy. Enki and Marduk have gone to the moon. For countless circuits they remain, their doings a mystery. What they are scheming is not known. Marduk has abandoned the way station on Lamu. The Ijiji are restless. By dust storms the station is affected, the extent of damage unknown. The place of the chariots in the Eden must be established. Therefrom the gold shall be carried directly from earth to Nibiru. No way station on Lamu shall be needed henceforth. Let Ninurta, with his great understanding, establish the place of the chariots near Bad Tibira. Let him be its first commander. Anu considered the words, his mind a balance of wisdom and foresight. He responded slowly, deliberately. Enki and Marduk are returning to earth. But first, let us hear what they have learned of the moon. From the moon, Enki and Marduk descended, their ship settling silently upon earth. They gave account of what they had seen, a barren, desolate landscape, unsuitable for a way station. Their report was clear. No station could be made here. Anu's decision followed swiftly, his voice commanding, Let the place of the chariots be built. Enki, eager to guide the next steps, addressed the king. Let Marduk be its commander. But Enlil's anger flared, his voice cutting through the assembly like a sharpened blade. The task is for Ninurta. Set aside your claims, my son, Enki countered with calm determination. The Ijiji no longer require command. Marduk knows the tasks. Let him oversee the gateway to heaven. Anu contemplated the matter deeply. Rivalries among the sons had stirred, yet his wisdom prevailed. With measured authority he decreed, the place of the chariots is for new ways of handling the gold. Neither Enlil nor Enki, neither Ninurta nor Marduk shall command. Let the responsibility fall to the third generation. Let Utu, son of Ninar, be commander. Let the place of celestial chariots be built. Let Sippar, the bird city, be its name. The king's word was unalterable, etched into the destinies of all who heard it. In the 81st Shar, construction began, following the grand plans of Enlil. Nibruki, the navel of the earth, was the center, and from it the olden cities were arranged in precise circles. Like an arrow drawn from the lowest sea toward the northern mountains, the lines were clear and true. Enlil himself traced the errata line from Twin Peaks to Skyward Heights, and where its arrow intersected, the site of Sipar was marked. Its location was perfect, precise. All marveled at the ingenuity of the design. By the 82nd Shar, construction was complete. Utu, grandson of Enlil, was given command. An eagle's helmet was fashioned for him, its wings spread wide, a symbol of vision and vigilance. From Nibiru, Anu himself journeyed in the first chariot to Sipar, eager to witness the installations, to marvel at the achievement. The Ijiji, summoned by Marduk, descended from Lamu to earth. Anunnaki assembled from the landing place and the Abzu, their ranks shining under the sun. Hailings, backslappings, feasts, and celebrations filled the air. Inanna, granddaughter of Enlil, performed song and dance for Anu. With deep affection, the king kissed her, calling her fondly Anunitu, his beloved. Before departing, Anu gathered the heroes and heroines, his gaze sweeping over their faces. A new era has begun, he proclaimed. Supplied with the golden salvation, the end of toil draws near. Once Nibiru's store is filled, the labor on earth can be diminished. Heroes and heroines shall return home. A few more shars of toil, and you shall be bound for Nibiru. With pomp unmatched, Anu ascended to Nibiru, carrying pure gold as testimony of the new order. Utu cherished his new task, commanding Sipar with diligence. Ninurta retained oversight of Bad Tabira. Marduk, however, returned neither to Latmu nor the Abzu. He roamed the earth in his skyship, seeking to comprehend all that lay beneath. The Ijiji were divided. Some remained on Lamu, others on earth under Utu's command. The Anunnaki anticipated renewed vigor, hoping for swift accumulation of gold to hasten their homecoming. But fate had not yet revealed its designs. In the Abzu, the Anunnaki expected relief, yet found the earthlings proliferating, filling the valleys and hills with their quickening numbers. It was now the earthlings who were to provide labor. The tasks in the Eden multiplied, more abodes, more provisions, more demands than ever. The heroes clamored, "Let the primitive workers be brought to the Eden." For 40 shars, relief flowed only to the Abzu. The heroes in the Eden shouted in frustration, "Our toil has exceeded endurance. Bring us the workers too." Enlil and Enki debated, but Ninurta seized the matter into his own hands. With 50 armed heroes, he led an expedition to the Abzu. Through forests and steppes they pursued the earthlings, capturing male and female alike. Nets ensnared them, and they were brought to the Eden to be trained in all manners of chores, in orchards, in cities, under sun and sky. Enki's anger fled at the upheaval. Enlil's rage shook the halls of command. "My expulsion of Adamu and Titanium Amat you have overturned." Enlil thundered to Ninurta. "Let the mutiny that occurred in the Abzu not repeat in the Eden," Ninurta replied firmly. "With the earthlings in the Eden, the heroes are calm. A few more shars, and it will no longer matter." Grumbling, Enlil acquiesced. "Let the gold pile up swiftly. Let us all return to Nibiru soon." The Anunnaki watched in admiration. The earthlings were intelligent, responsive, understanding commands with ease. They took up tasks tirelessly, unclothed and uncomplaining. Male and female labored and mated, proliferating swiftly. In one shar, sometimes 4 generations emerged. Food became a constant necessity. The earthlings foraged tirelessly in cities, orchards, valleys, and hills. Grains had not yet been cultivated. The ewe and lamb were still absent. Enlil's voice, angry and reproachful, rose to Enki. "By your doings, confusion has been wrought. By your design, salvation itself has been devised." Thus the 3rd generation of Anunnaki and the growing earthlings set the stage for a new era, a balance of toil, command, and the relentless drive to harvest gold for Nibiru, under the ever-watchful gaze of Utu and the celestial hierarchy. The dawn of civilized man. The earth thrummed with life, yet still it lacked balance. The Anunnaki, their labors eased by the tireless proliferation of the earthlings, were content in part, but Enki, ever watchful, harbored a quiet worry. For 7 shars, the toil of the Anunnaki had been greatly diminished. The workers of the earth, multiplying with astonishing rapidity, had become the serfs of the gods, relieving the heroes of much labor. Yet even as abundance grew, the balance of life remained fragile. 3 shars more passed, and already the rivers ran low of fish, and the fowl became scarce. What nature alone produced could no longer satisfy the Anunnaki and the earthlings alike. In the deep recesses of his mind, Enki conceived a grand design, a new undertaking, secret and profound. A civilized mankind he would create, one capable of farming and shepherding, of cultivating grain and tending flocks, a people suited to assist both Earth and Anunnaki. The primitive workers in the Abzu he watched, the earthlings in the Eden he observed in their orchards and cities. What lacked in them, what combination of life essence was missing to render them capable of higher tasks? Yet as he observed the offspring of the earthlings, a troubling sight met his eyes. Through repeated copulations, they were regressing, returning toward their wild forebears. They were strong and vigorous, yes, but unrefined, untamed, unready for the labors he envisioned. Enki's eyes turned to the marshlands. On the rivers he sailed, silent and contemplative, accompanied only by his ever-loyal vizier, Isimud, keeper of secrets. On the bank he noticed them, earthlings bathing and frolicking in the river, unaware of the destiny that was about to touch them. Among them 2 females stood out, wild with beauty, their forms firm and ripe. A fire stirred within Enki, a desire both sacred and primal. His gaze fell upon them. "Shall I not kiss the young ones?" he asked Isimud, voice low with intent. "I will guide the boat, my lord," Isimud replied. "Row to them and kiss the young ones as you will." The boat carried Enki to the shore. Stepping lightly onto the soft earth, he called to the first, offering the fruit of a tree. She extended it to him with a smile. Bending low, Enki embraced her, pressed his lips to hers. Sweet, firm, and alive was the fruit of her body, and in a sacred union he poured forth his essence. She received it, carrying the holy seed within her. The second, berries in hand, was called next. Enki repeated the gesture, a kiss and an embrace, a sacred act of life and continuity. Into her womb he imparted the holy seed, the spark of a new future. "Remain with them," Enki instructed Isimud, "and see if pregnancies come about." Isimud watched carefully. By the 4th count, bulges of expectancy became visible. By the 10th count, the 9th cycle complete, the moment arrived. The first young one squatted, crying aloud in the primal joy of birth, delivering a male child. The second followed, bringing forth a female child. It was the same day, marked by dawn and dusk, that both children came into the world. The gracious ones, as they would later be known in legend, were born. In the 93rd shar, these 2, by Enki fathered in the Aedean, were born, Isimud reported swiftly. Enki's heart leapt with ecstasy. Who has ever known such a thing? Between Anunnaki and Earthling, conception has been attained. A civilized man I have brought into being. He instructed Isimud to keep the secret, to nurture the newborns carefully. Let the mothers suckle them, and thereafter bring them to my household. Among the bulrushes and reed baskets have I found them. Thus all shall be told. So it was that the children were suckled and nurtured by their mothers, then brought to Enki's household in Eridu. There, Ninki, the goddess, took them to her heart as if they were her own. The boy was named Adapa, the foundling. The girl, Titi, one with life. Unlike other earthlings, these children were quick of understanding and slow to grow, endowed with intelligence and speech. Beautiful and dexterous, Titi learned all crafts from Ninki, while Enki himself instructed Adapa in the sacred art of record-keeping. A new kind of earthling from my seed has been created, Enki declared to Isimud. In my image and after my likeness. From their seed food will grow, from their flocks sheep they will shepherd. Anunnaki and earthlings alike shall be satiated. He sent word to Enlil at Nibruki, explaining the miracle. In the wilderness, a new kind of earthling has come forth, quick of learning, capable of craft and knowledge. Let us bring seeds that are sown. Let us bring ewes that sheep become. Let us teach this new breed of earthlings farming and shepherding, so both Anunnaki and earthlings shall be satiated. Enlil, astonished, replied, Akin to us in many ways, indeed they are. A wonder of wonders, that they should have come forth by themselves. Isamud recounted the truth. Among the bulrushes in reed baskets I found them. Enlil's head shook in amazement. Indeed, a wonder of wonders. A civilized man has emerged upon the earth. Farming, shepherding, crafts, and tool-making, they can be taught. Let us send word to Anu so he too may marvel. Thus the word was sent to Nibiru. Seeds to sow, ewes to shepherd, knowledge to teach, all were to be delivered to the earth. In Eridu, the first acts of civilized man unfolded. Adapa and Titi, now capable of comprehension, mated. Conception followed. Titi gave birth to twins, 2 boys. The news was sent swiftly to Anu. The twosome are compatible. Proliferation can occur. Let the seeds and sheep be sent to earth. Let farming and shepherding begin. Let all be satiated. Anu decreed, Let Titi remain in Eridu to nurture the newborns. Adapa, the earthling, shall journey to Nibiru. And so the first of civilized man, born of divine, secret, and mortal earth, stepped into history, bringing with him a new era of learning, craft, and stewardship over the land. The 8th tablet, Adapa's journey to Nibiru. The decision had been made. Adapa, the earthling brought forth by Enki's secret wisdom, was to be taken to Nibiru. The announcement echoed across the halls of Eridu, stirring awe and disquiet alike. Let Adapa the earthling to Nibiru be brought! Anu's command resounded, unalterable as the eternal stars. Enlil's brow darkened. Who could have imagined that a primitive worker, a being once bound to toil, would rise to traverse the heavens, drink the waters of long life, partake in the food of immortality, and walk among the Anunnaki as an equal? Indeed, he said to Enki and the gathered leaders, by our reckoning none would have thought it. He shall drink of the waters of long life, eat the food of long life, like us, an earthling shall become. Enki's face too was sullen. He bowed in assent, but inside a storm of thoughts churned. Who of all the Anunnaki could have foreseen such a thing? Indeed, Enki murmured to Enlil, who would have thought this could be? Ninmah, seated among them, observed gravely. The command of Anu cannot be avoided, she said, her voice steady. Enki nodded. Let our young ones accompany him, he said. Ningishida and Dumuzi shall travel as his companions to calm his fear and explain all before Anu. Let them behold Nibiru with their own eyes for the first time. Ninmah's eyes gleamed with understanding. Our young ones born upon earth forget Nibiru. Its life cycles are foreign to them. Perhaps they shall find brides among its people. When the next celestial chamber arrived at Sipar, its arrival announced by the low hum of the engines of the gods, Ilabrat, vizier of Anu, stepped forth. I have come to fetch the earthling Adapa, he said, his voice ringing with purpose. Enki presented Adapa and Titi along with their sons. Indeed, in our image and after our likeness they are. Ilabrat marveled. Then Enki introduced his sons, Ningishida and Dumuzi, chosen to accompany Adapa on this unprecedented journey. Anu will be pleased to see his grandchildren, Ilabrat said, eyes alight with anticipation. Enki summoned Adapa. His voice was calm, precise, yet heavy with solemnity. Adapa, you will journey to Nibiru, the planet from whence we came. Before Anu, the king, you shall bow. Speak only when asked. Give short answers. New garments you shall wear. On earth unknown, bread and elixir shall be offered. Eat not, drink not. Death lies therein. Heed your companions, Ningishida and Dumuzi, and you shall live. This I shall remember, Adapa replied, his voice steady but tinged with awe. Enki summoned his sons, placing a blessing upon each. Before Anu you are coming, he instructed. Bow, pay homage, but fear not the princes and nobles. You are their equals. Your mission is to return Adapa to earth. Be not charmed by Nibiru's delights. Dumuzi and Ningishida, eyes wide with both wonder and determination, nodded in unison. "This we shall remember, Father," they said. Enki kissed the forehead of each son, the gestures both sacred and tender. He placed the sealed tablet in Ningishida's hand, hidden from sight. "To my father, Anu, you shall deliver this in secret," Enki whispered. Together the three approached the place of the celestial chariots. The garb of the Ijiji was donned upon Ningishida and Dumuzi. Like celestial eagles they were transformed. Adapa's unkempt hair was shaven, an eagle helmet placed upon his head, and a tight-fitting vest replaced his simple loincloth. Between the two sons of Enki, he was positioned inside that which ascends. The chariot shuddered, groaning with celestial power, then roared into the sky. Adapa shrieked, trembling. "The eagle without wings is soaring," he cried. Ningishida and Dumuzi flanked him, their hands steady upon his shoulders, their words soft and soothing. As 1 league passed, the earth spread beneath him like a tapestry. 2 leagues, the seas and lands shrank further, the oceans becoming tubs, the continents mere baskets. At 3 leagues he glimpsed the distant Eden, a small jewel in the void, and cried out in terror, "Take me back!" Ningishida's hand rested upon his neck. In an instant Adapa's fear subsided. When they landed on Nibiru, curiosity ignited. Children of Enki, born upon earth and now an earthling of singular renown, had arrived. "A being from another world has come!" The crowd shouted. Ilabrak guided them to the palace where Adapa was washed, anointed with perfumed oils and clothed in fresh garments. Nobles, princes, and counselors gathered as they were led to the throne room. Before Anu, Adapa bowed with reverence. The king stepped forward, embracing his grandchildren Dumuzi and Ningishida, tears glinting in his eyes. "My grandsons! My grandsons!" he exclaimed, holding each close. Ilabrat presented Adapa. "Does he understand our speech?" Anu asked. "Indeed," Ilabrat replied. "He was taught by Enki himself." "Come hither," Anu commanded. "What is your name and what is your occupation?" Adapa stepped forward once more, bowing deeply. "Adapa is my name, servant of the Lord Enki," he said. A gasp spread among the assembly. A primitive worker speaking with knowledge, understanding, and poise. This was a wonder beyond imagining. A wonder of wonders on earth has been attained, Anu declared. "A wonder of wonders," the assembly echoed. A banquet followed. Bread and elixir of Nibiru were offered to Adapa. He partook of neither. "Why has Enki sent this ill-mannered earthling to reject our celestial ways?" Anu asked, puzzled and offended. "My master, the Lord Enki commanded me. The bread do not eat, the elixir do not drink," Adapa answered, unwavering. Anu's curiosity deepened. Questions to Ilabrat and Dumuzi yielded no answers. Ningishida, holding the secret tablet, approached. In silence he presented it to Anu. The king's eyes widened in both concern and wonder. Taking the tablet to his private chamber, he began the delicate work of deciphering its hidden truths. Thus, the first earthling to traverse the heavens, Adapa, stood in Nibiru's halls, not merely a visitor, but a bridge between worlds, a living testament to Enki's audacious design. And in the shadows of that secret tablet lay the destiny of civilized man yet to unfold. The great chamber of Nibiru's palace was silent now, but for the rustling of finely woven garments and the quiet murmur of attendants. Adapa stood between Ningishida and Dumuzi, his small, earthborn frame dwarfed by the grandeur surrounding him. Every step toward the throne seemed a journey across worlds, the weight of destiny pressing upon him, the vastness of the Anunnaki realm both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Anu's eyes, like twin suns, bore down upon the trio as they bowed. The king's gaze softened as it rested on his grandchildren first, and then on the earthling who had crossed the void. "My grandsons! My grandsons!" Anu exclaimed, rushing forward to embrace Ningishida and Dumuzi, tears streaking his noble visage. With each hug, the gravity of their journey, of centuries of celestial alignment and planning, was given form. Then Ilabrat, ever the dutiful vizier, presented Adapa. Does he understand our speech? Anu's voice resonated through the marble hall. He does, Ilabrat replied, for the Lord Enki has taught him. Forward stepped Adapa, bowing deeply. His voice, though trembling, carried with clarity, Adapa is my name, of the Lord Enki a servant. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Never had an earthborn being spoken in such a manner. Never had one walked so boldly among the Anunnaki. A wonder of wonders on earth has been attained, Anu declared, awe lighting his expression. The court echoed his exclamation, voices mingling in reverence and celebration. A banquet was laid, tables heaving with the bread and elixirs of Nibiru, foods that promised the long life of the gods. Yet Adapa did not touch them. Curiosity sharpened into concern in Anu's eyes. Why has Enki sent this earthling to Nibiru, yet forbidden him our sustenance? He demanded. My master, the Lord Enki commanded me, the bread do not eat, the elixir do not drink, Adapa answered with careful respect. Anu frowned, perplexed. He turned to Ilabrat, then Dumuzi, but neither could explain the reasoning. Finally, Ningishida stepped forward, his eyes solemn. The answer lies within this secret tablet, he said, handing it over to the king. Puzzled, Anu withdrew to his private chamber, the tablet clutched tightly in his hands. The inscriptions glimmered faintly, like captured starlight, each character a key to truths long hidden. Slowly, he deciphered the words, uncovering the carefully guarded secret that Adapa, born of earth, yet touched by Enki's divine essence, was not merely an earthling. He was a bridge between worlds, created to bring sustenance, civilization, and order to the earth and its peoples. Elated yet contemplative, Anu summoned Enki. In the quiet of the council chamber, the two brothers faced one another. Enki's expression was calm but proud, tinged with the subtle defiance of one who acts from necessity rather than command. The lot of the Anunnaki has been eased by this, he said. The proliferation of the earthlings has relieved toil, but soon food will be scarce. Civilized man must come forth to cultivate and shepherd, to create abundance. Enlil, ever stern, scowled. Who could have imagined that, from a primitive worker, a being such as this would arise endowed with knowledge, capable of traversing heaven and earth as we do? His voice carried the mixture of fear and wonder that marked all who confronted the extraordinary. The command of Anu cannot be avoided, Ninmah reminded them, her tone even, a tether to reason amidst their awe. Thus it was decided Adapa would travel back to earth, to sow, to tend, and to guide. Alongside him would be Ningishida and Dumuzi, Enki's sons, to ensure the journey was safe and his purpose fulfilled. They donned the garb of the Ijiji, feathers and helmets gleaming, a sign to all that this was a journey both sacred and perilous. The celestial chariot shuddered, roaring with power that shook the very air. Adapa shrank in fear, crying out, "Take me back! The eagle without wings is soaring." Yet Ningishida and Dumuzi steadied him, speaking softly, guiding him until his fear was tamed. The earth below dwindled to a sphere, oceans to pools, lands to baskets of green and brown, until at last Nibiru itself rose before them, a jewel in the void. On landing, the Anunnaki crowded around, eyes wide with curiosity. The children of Enki, born of earth, marveled, and the earthling who had crossed worlds brought astonishment that rippled through the assembly. Ilabrat led them to the palace, and there, in perfumed oils and garments befitting the celestial court, Adapa was prepared for presentation. Before Anu, Adapa bowed once more. The king's eyes softened, but the mystery remained. "Why did you not partake of our bread or drink of our elixir?" he asked. "My master," the Lord Enki commanded me. "The bread do not eat, the elixir do not drink," Adapa replied, steadfast. Puzzled yet intrigued, Anu took the secret tablet from Ningishida, and the truth unfolded before him. The assembly listened in awe as the wisdom of Enki, the foresight of the Anunnaki, and the ingenuity of civilized man were revealed, a plan for abundance, for civilization, for a future in which both Earthlings and Anunnaki might prosper. Addapa's destiny was clear. His return to Earth would mark the beginning of farming and shepherding, the cultivation of grain, the tending of flocks. Ninurta would instruct Ka in the arts of crop cultivation. Marduk would guide Abail in shepherding and wool making. Conflicts would arise as the rivalry over waters ignited tragedy, leading to Ka in striking and killing Abail. Yet even this would shape the future through law, trial, and exile. Addapa and Titi would have other children, their line intertwining, expanding, and bringing order to a burgeoning world. On his deathbed, Addapa would bless Sati as his heir, ensuring continuity and wisdom for generations to come. And even the descendant Nkame would be taken by Marduk to Lahmu, a child of earth and heaven, linking worlds across time and space. Thus, the chronicle of Addapa, the earthling who crossed the heavens, was etched into memory, a tale of courage, wisdom, and the birth of civilized man, bridging worlds and ensuring that the toil of gods and men alike might finally find its balance. In the private sanctum of Anu, the king of Nibiru, the seal upon the sacred tablet of Enki broke with a soft, resonant snap. Light from the chamber's lamps glinted off the carved symbols as Anu placed the tablet into the scanner. A hush fell over the room, the air thick with anticipation, as the ancient words from Enki's hand illuminated the device. Addapa, by my seed to an earthling woman was born, the message declared, and likewise Titi, conceived of another earthling woman, bore the mark of Enki's essence. Wisdom and speech were theirs, yet the long life of Nibiru they were not granted. To live and die on earth Addapa must return, mortality his lot shall be. By the sowing and shepherding of his offspring, on earth shall satiation come, the tablet proclaimed. Anu's eyes widened in astonishment. He could neither summon anger nor laughter, for both feelings wrestled within him, each vying for dominance. Summoning Ilabrat, his vizier, Anu laid the tablet before him. That son of mine, still his ways with females unchecked. What am I to do? Ilabrat studied the symbols carefully, a frown creasing his brow. By our rules, concubines are permitted. Interplanetary unions, however, have no precedent, he replied. If damage there be, let it be contained. Addapa must return to earth at once. Ningishida and Dumuzi shall accompany him no longer than necessary. Anu called Ningishida to his chamber. Do you know what your father's message contained? He asked. The young one lowered his head, speaking softly. I know not, but I can guess. The life essence of Addapa I have tested. He is of Enki's seed. That indeed is the message, Anu said gravely. Addapa to earth shall forthwith return to be progenitor of civilized man, and you, Ningishida, shall accompany him to teach and guide at your father's side. The king departed the chamber, bringing his decision before the assembly of savants, nobles, princes, and counselors. The earthling's welcome must be measured. He may not partake of Nibiru's food or elixir. Of his astounding abilities we have all witnessed. Now he must return to earth. There, let his offspring sow fields and shepherd meadows. Ningishida will travel with him to ensure safety and calm. Seeds of grain and the essence of sheep shall be sent along, that earth may be enriched. Dumuzi, youngest of Enki's sons, will remain for a shar before returning with the ewes. All heads bowed in agreement, the decree sealed. At the appointed hour, Ningishida and Addapa were escorted to the place of the celestial chariots. Roars and shudders shook the assembly as the mighty vessel lifted from Nibiru. The planets shrank below them, and the heavens unfolded in vast, dizzying arcs. As they traversed the void, Ningishida instructed Addapa on the ways of the planets. See the sun, the moon, the earth. Observe how months chase one another, how the year is counted. Know these cycles, for your return to earth will demand understanding of time itself. Upon reaching Earth, Ningishida recounted the journey to Enki. Enki laughed, striking his loins in delight. It all went as I expected, save for the detention of Dumuzi, a curious puzzle indeed. Enlil, puzzled and wary, demanded answers. What transpired on Nibiru? He asked, summoning Ninmah to hear the tale. Ningishida recounted each detail, including Enki's cohabitation with earthling women. No rules did you break, Enlil said at last, his voice shaking with controlled fury. Yet by your actions, the fates of Anunnaki and earthlings are intertwined. Destiny is cast. And with a final glare, he departed, leaving Enki and the others standing in quiet contemplation. Meanwhile, in Eridu, Marduk was summoned by his mother Damkina to witness these extraordinary events. Enki and Enlil, wishing to preserve some secrecy, revealed only fragments. Marduk, impressed by Adapa and Titi, took a liking to their sons. While Ningishida instructs Adapa, I shall guide the boys, he declared. In Eridu, Ningishida taught Adapa the arts of numbers and writing. Ka-in, the firstborn, was taken by Ninurta to Bad Tibira. He who in the field food grows, he was named, and Ninurta showed him to dig canals, sow seeds, and reap crops. A wooden plow, crafted by Ninurta himself, was given to Ka-in to till the land. Abael, the second son, he of the watered meadows, was placed under Marduk's guidance. Here, the arts of building stalls, tending sheep, and managing flocks were taught. All awaited Dumuzi's return, for with him came the essence of the sheep and ewes necessary for their flocks to multiply. When the Shar ended, Dumuzi returned, carrying with him the precious seed of sheep, the ewes that would establish herds on earth. Enki rejoiced as his son delivered the animals, the potential for prosperity palpable. The Anunnaki gathered to deliberate the next step for this new breed. Never before had a ewe grazed Earth's meadows, nor a lamb been born here from celestial seed. The weaving of wool, the tending of flocks, the cultivation of crops, these were wonders awaiting instruction. A creation chamber, a house of fashioning, was established upon a pure mound in the Cedar Mountains near the planting of elixir seeds brought by Ninmah. Here the multiplying of grains and sheep began. Ka-in learned to sow and reap under Ninurta's tutelage. Abael learned shepherding and woolcraft under Marduk. When the first harvest was reaped, when the first lambs matured, Enlil proclaimed a grand celebration of firsts. Before the assembly of Anunnaki, Ka-in placed his crops at the feet of Enlil and Enki, guided by Ninurta. Abael presented his lambs, guided by Marduk. Enlil's voice rang with joy. Your labors are blessed, your diligence extolled. Enki lifted the lamb high, the fruit of earth and Nibiru combined. Meat for eating, wool for wearing, to earth have come, he proclaimed, and all eyes beheld the triumph of civilized man. The celebration of first had ended, and though the meadows were ripe with the promise of bounty and the ewes grazed contentedly, a shadow fell over Ka-in. His face was sullen, heavy with unspoken grievance. He felt the lack of Enki's blessing as an invisible weight pressing upon him. Abael, his younger brother, was the first to break the silence, striding before Ka-in with the confidence of one who measured his worth in accomplishments. I am the one who brings abundance. I satiate the Anunnaki. I give strength to heroes and wool for their clothing. His voice rang across the sunlit fields, pride in every syllable. Ka-in's chest tightened, anger stirred like a tempest. It is I who luxuriates the plains, who makes the furrows heavy with grain, in whose fields the birds multiply, and whose canals are full of fish. By my hand bread is produced, and with fish and fowl I vary the Anunnaki's diet. The brothers' voices rose and fell, each claim met with rebuttal, their wintertime disputes echoing across the barren lands. And when summer arrived, it brought no rain. The meadows were parched, the pastures dwindled, and the veins of the land seemed to crack beneath the twin weight of pride and hunger. In desperation, Ka-in drove his flocks into Abael's fields, seeking water from the furrows and canals. Abael's indignation flared. "Remove them, brother!" he shouted. Words became spat accusations, accusations became blows, and fists met with the thunder of anger. Ka-in, in a fury that burned hotter than the midday sun, seized a stone. He struck Abael on the head again and again until Abael fell. Blood gushed forth, dark and unforgiving, staining the dry earth. Ka-in knelt beside his fallen brother, shaking with grief and horror. "Abael! Abael, my brother!" he cried, but no voice came back. Motionless he lay, his soul departed, leaving Ka-in in a stunned, weeping silence. It was Titi who first sensed the horror. In the quiet of sleep, a vision came to her, Abael's blood in Ka-in's hand. Startled, she awakened Adapa, trembling and pale. "A heavy sorrow fills my heart. Something terrifying has happened," she whispered, recounting her dream with wide, fearful eyes. At dawn, the two journeyed to the field and found Ka-in seated beside Abael's lifeless body. Titi's wail pierced the morning air, while Adapa spread mud upon his head in ritual mourning. "What have you done? What have you done?" they cried, their voices breaking under the weight of grief. Ka-in answered only with silence, collapsing to the earth in sorrowful resignation. Word of the tragedy reached Eridu, and Enki's wrath was immediate. "Accursed you shall be, Ka-in. From the Eden you must depart. Among Anunnaki and civilized earthlings you shall no longer remain," he thundered. "Abael," he decreed, "must be honored in the fields no longer. In accordance with Anunnaki custom, his body was laid beneath a pile of stones. For 30 days and 30 nights, Titi and Adapa mourned their lost son, learning the rites of burial from Enki's guidance. Ka-in was brought before the assembly for judgment. Marduk, enraged, demanded justice. "Shall leaders of Nibiru judge one not of our kind? Is it not enough that he has killed the one I favored? Like Anzu, so shall Ka-in's life be extinguished." Ninurta remained silent, sorrow in his heart. Enki, seeking to temper the storm, drew Marduk aside. "My son, do not compound agony with agony," he said gently. Then, in quiet confession, he revealed the truth. "Once, as I walked by the river, 2 earthling maidens captured my fancy. By them were Adapa and Titi conceived. Civilized man, new to this earth, was born. By Ka-in and Abael, Anu and the council were convinced of a new phase of our presence. Now that Abael has been slain, if Ka-in too shall perish, all our achievements shall crumble." Marduk, first astonished, then overcome by laughter, relented. "Of your prowess I am convinced. Spare Ka-in. Let him be banished to the ends of the earth." Thus, Enki pronounced judgment. Ka-in was sent eastward to a land of wandering. Ningishida altered Ka-in's life essence, so no beard would grow upon him. With his sister Alwan as spouse, Ka-in departed from the Eden, and the Anunnaki wondered aloud, without Ka-in or Abael, who would grow the grains, who would shepherd the flocks? Enki's blessing ensured that Adapa and Titi continued to prosper. Daughters and sons were born again and again. In the 95th Shar, Sati, he who life binds again, was born. 30 sons and 30 daughters in all, who tilled the land and shepherded flocks, ensuring the sustenance of Anunnaki and civilized earthlings alike. In the 97th Shah, Sati's son Inshi, master of humanity, was born to his spouse Azura. Adapa taught him writing, numbers, and the ways of Nibiru, and the sons of Enlil instructed him in the sacred rites and secrets of the Anunnaki. Through Enshi, the rites of anointing and the preparation of elixirs were learned. Thus the lords of Nibiru were honored, and the worship of the Anunnaki began upon the earth. Enshi's sister Nom bore a son, Kunin, he of the kilns. Under Niberta's guidance at Bad Tibera, he learned the craft of smelting and refining gold to toil with his offspring in the service of Nibiru. And so, in the 98th Shar, the foundations of civilization and the legacy of Adapa's line were firmly established upon the earth. a testament to the mingling of divine and mortal, of celestial seed and earthly soil. The generations of Adapa continued, their lives entwined with the workings of heaven and earth alike. In the 99th Shar, a son was born to Kunin and his half-sister Mualit. Malalu, he who plays, they named him, for music and song coursed through his veins like a living river. He was a child of joy, laughter, and harmony. Ninurta, the wise mentor, crafted a harp of strings for Malalu, shaping a flute in his skilled hands. Before the great Ninurta, Malalu played and with his daughters sang hymns in reverent praise, their voices rising like the winds across the plains. His spouse, Dunna, the daughter of his father's brother, joined him in this legacy of sound, their lives bound by kinship and the music of civilization. In the 100th Shar, Malalu and Duna's firstborn came into the world. Erid, he of the sweet waters, was his mother's gift. From early days, Dumuzi guided him, teaching how wells could draw water to sustain flocks grazing in distant meadows. There at these wells, shepherds and maidens gathered, and civilized mankind flourished in numbers and unity. In those days, the Igigi, watchers of the heavens, frequently descended to earth, leaving their distant posts to see what was unfolding below. Enki, hearing Marduk's petitions, allowed them closer, granting Marduk the privilege to observe, to guide, and to teach. At a well in the meadows, Irid met his destined spouse. Baraka, the daughter of his mother's brother, caught his eye. Their union produced a son in the 102nd Shar. Enki-Mi, by Enki-Mi understanding, was born. A boy of profound intelligence, curious and quick to grasp the secrets of numbers and the celestial order. To him, Enki revealed mysteries once shared with Adapa, the 12 stations of the heavens, the family of the sun, the 12 great celestial gods, the counting of months by the moon, the years by the sun, and the Shars of Nibiru. Enki taught Enkume the grand design, assigning constellations and naming the stations for the 12 Anunnaki leaders. Enkume's desire to explore was insatiable. Twice he ascended into the heavens. The first journey was to the landing place with Marduk, from whence he was taken in a rocket ship to the moon. There, under Marduk's careful tutelage, Enkume absorbed the celestial lessons his father Enki had imparted. Upon returning to earth, he was sent to Utu in Sippar, the place of the chariots, where the prince of earthlings installed him and bestowed upon him a tablet for writing all he learned. The rites and functions of priesthood he mastered, residing there with his half-sister and spouse Adini. In the 104th Shah, their firstborn, Matushal, who by the bright waters is raised, was born. Soon, Enkume embarked on his second celestial journey. With Marduk as his mentor, he ascended in a chariot that circled toward the sun and back, visiting the Igigi on Lamu. There, the watchers took a liking to him, learning from him of the ways of civilized earthlings. It is said in the annals that Enkim never returned to mundane life, dwelling in the heavens until the end of his days. Before departing, he recorded everything, the heavenly orders, the quarters of the earth, its lands and rivers, and all that Marduk and the Igigi had begun. His writings he entrusted to his firstborn, Matushal, and to his sons Ragim and Gaidat, ensuring the knowledge of the stars would endure. Matushal by Edna bore a son, Lumach, mighty man. In his time, conditions on earth hardened. Laborers in fields and pastures complained. Lumach was appointed workmaster by the Anunnaki, enforcing quotas and rationing provisions. In those days, Adapa, the first progenitor of civilized man, felt the end of his life approaching. Summoning all his sons and grandsons, he said, "Before I depart, let me bless you. Let my word shape your paths before the spirit leaves me." Sati and the sons of his sons gathered, and Adapa asked, "Where is Ka'en, my firstborn? Let him be fetched." Enki, hearing this, called Ninurta, instructing him to bring the banished Ka'en to his father's deathbed. Ninurta soared across the lands in his bird of heaven, seeking Ka'en in the land of wandering, and upon finding him, carried him swiftly to Adapa. Before their father, Ka'en stood on the right, Sati on the left. Adapa, eyesight dimmed by age, touched the faces of his sons. He felt Ka-In's beardless cheeks and Sati's with a beard. Placing his right hand on Sati, he spoke, "Of your seed shall the earth be filled, and of your seed as a tree with 3 branches mankind shall survive the great calamity." Then, with his left hand on Ka-In, he said, "For your sin of your birthright you are deprived, but of your seed 7 nations shall come. In a realm set apart they shall thrive. Yet having slain your brother with a stone, by a stone will you meet your end." Adapa's hands fell. A deep sigh escaped him. "Now summon my spouse Titi and all the sons and daughters. When my spirit leaves me, carry me to my birthplace by the river and bury me with my face toward the rising sun." Titi's cry shattered the quiet. She fell to her knees beside him, her grief raw and uncontainable. Ka-In and Sati wrapped their father in a cloth and, guided by Titi, buried him in a cave along the river bank. Born in the 93rd Shar, Adapa passed by the end of the 108, a long life for an earthling yet fleeting compared to the spans of Enki. Ka-In bid farewell to his mother and brother. Ninurta returned him to the land of wandering, where he fathered sons and daughters. There he built a city, but as fate would decree, a falling stone claimed his life. On earth, Lumak served as workmaster, and under his tenure, Marduk and the Igigi intermarried with earthlings, intertwining heaven and earth, celestial and mortal, in a tapestry of continuing history. The generations of Adapa endured, carrying forward the legacy of civilized man, the teachings of the Anunnaki, and the eternal rhythms of both the heavens and the fields below. The 9th tablet, the wedding of Marduk and the rising discord, in the days of Lumak, when the earth groaned beneath the toil of humankind, Marduk walked among the Igigi and the earthlings they had espoused. Life on the plains grew harsher by the season, and even from the heights of Lamu, dust and dryness clung to the horizon, the land shivering under a relentless sun. The Anunnaki who decreed the fates, and Lil, Enki, and Ninma gathered together, their ancient eyes turned toward the changing conditions. The sun flares, Enki observed, his voice carrying a gravity earned through 100 chars of watching over Earth and Lamu alike. The net forces of both planets are disrupted. Something stirs that we have not seen before. In the Abzu, at the tip of the Whiteland facing, instruments of observation have been installed. Nergal, Enki's son, and his spouse, Ereshkigal, were entrusted with their care, charged to read the signs of the heavens and earth alike. To the distant mountain lands, Ninurta was sent, tasked to establish a bond heaven-earth, a connection for observation and action. On Lamu, the restless Igigi awaited guidance. Marduk was appointed to pacify them and maintain the way station until the hardships could be understood. The 3 who held the fates in their hands looked upon one another, silently measuring the wear of years. Enki, still mourning the passing of Adapa, spoke first, his voice heavy with memory. "More than 100 shars have passed since my arrival. I was then a dashing leader ready for command and adventure. Now I am bearded, weary, and old." Enlil's eyes shadowed with sorrow as he replied, "Now we have children who have children, all born upon earth. We have grown old here, yet they age more swiftly than we." Ninma, who had weathered earth's cycles more than any other, sighed wistfully. "They call me an old sheep, while others come and go, serving earth in turns. We remain. Perhaps it is time to depart." Enki nodded, recalling countless moments of longing. "I too have wondered, each time one of us desires to return to Nibiru, yet word from there always halts our journey. Is it Nibiru that restrains us?" Enlil mused, "or the cycles of life on earth?" "Perchance," Ninma said. "The difference in life cycles may be the concern of fate itself." It was then that destiny, unseen yet inexorable, moved the course of events. Marduk came to Enki, his father, with a matter that weighed upon his heart. "Father," he said, "the sons of Enlil have chosen spouses. Ninurta has espoused Ba'u, a young daughter of Anu. Nanar has chosen Ningal. Ishkur has taken Shala. Nergal, my brother, claimed Ereshkigal, a granddaughter of Enlil, with threats extracting her consent. And yet I, firstborn, wait. I wish to choose my bride, to take a spouse. Enki's eyes brightened. Your words bring joy, my son. Your mother too shall rejoice. Marduk raised a hand, motioning to his father. She is not one of the healers, nor of the tender servants. She is earthborn, a descendant of Adapa. Her name is Sarpanit, daughter of Enkime, who was taken to the heavens. Enki's brows lifted in astonishment. A prince of Nibiru, firstborn to succession, will espouse an earthling? Not an earthling, father, Marduk corrected, but your own offspring, descended from Enkime. Enki called Ninki his consort and recounted Marduk's intentions. Marduk spoke plainly. When Enkam journeyed with me, I taught him the secrets of heaven and earth. Step by step, we created a primitive being, one like us. Civilized earthlings were made in our image and likeness, save for their mortal lifespan. Of Enkam's daughter, Sapanit, my fancy is caught. I wish to espouse her. Ninki pondered, her gaze softening. And the maiden, does she return your affection? Yes, Marduk whispered. Enki's voice rose in sudden intensity. This is not merely a matter of affection. Should our son take her, he will never return to Nibiru with her. His princely rights will be forever forsaken. Marduk laughed bitterly. My rights on Nibiru are non-existent. Even on earth, my position as firstborn has been trampled. Let it be my decision. From prince, I shall become king on earth, master of this planet. Ninki and Enki exchanged a glance, then both spoke in unison. Let it so be. They summoned Matusha, brother to the bride, and shared Marduk's wishes. Humbled but overjoyed, Matusha gave his consent. Let it so be, he said. When Enlil heard the news, fury seized him. It is one thing for our father to consort with earthlings. It is another for the firstborn to espouse one, bestowing lordship upon her. Ninmatu was deeply disappointed. He could have chosen any maiden among our daughters, even my own. Half-sisters, as is the royal custom, were available, she lamented. Enlil's anger shot up to Anu and Nibiru. Too far has this behavior gone, it cannot be allowed. On Nibiru, counselors and savants convened urgently. No law governs such a matter. Adapa's progeny cannot remain on earth, they declared. To take her to Nibiru, Marduk must forever be barred. Once accustomed to earth, he may never leave even without her. Finally, the decision was beamed back. Marduk may marry, but he shall never again be a prince on Nibiru. Even Enlil bowed to the decree. Ninki arranged a grand wedding celebration in Eridu. The copper drum's sound announced the ceremony across the city. 7 tambourines accompanied the bride, her sisters presenting her to Marduk. Civilized earthlings assembled in multitudes, and the young Annunaki attended alongside the Ijiji, who came from Lamu in great numbers. To celebrate our leader's wedding, of Nibiru and Earth a union, to witness we came, the Ijiji declared, their voices echoing with pride, and thus the wedding of Marduk and Sapanit became legend, a testament to defiance, desire, and the intricate weaving of heaven and earth. The abduction of the daughters and the birth of Zusudra. In the days of Lumah, when the earth groaned beneath ever-increasing hardships, the Ijiji descended in great number from Lamu. Only a third remained behind on their high, dry world. 200 came to earth, ostensibly to attend the wedding of their leader, Marduk, and to witness the union of Nibiru and earth. Yet none among the Anunnaki, neither Enki nor Enlil, suspected the true purpose behind their coming. A secret murmur coursed among the Ijiji, enough of suffering and loneliness, enough of living without offspring. In their gatherings upon Lamu, they pledged to seize mates from the daughters of the earthlings, the Adapite women, and to beget children of their own. Among them, one stood taller in will than the rest, a figure named Shamgaz. Even if none of you agrees, he declared, his voice sharp as flint, I alone shall do the deed. If a penalty is imposed for this sin, I alone shall bear it. One by one, the others, stirred by his courage and desire, swore an oath. Their pact forged, they descended upon the landing place in the Cedar Mountains, their wings casting shadows across the stone, their hearts set on the daughters of earth. Through the fields and toiling settlements they came, passing among the laboring earthlings, until they reached Eridu. The wedding of Marduk and Sarpanit had just concluded, the songs of tambourines still lingering in the air. Shamgaz raised a prearranged signal, and suddenly each Ejiji seized an earthling maiden, forceful hands pulling them from the crowd. The captives were carried to a stronghold atop the Cedar Mountains, a fortress carved in cedar and stone, where the Ejiji proclaimed their defiance. Enough of deprivation! We wish to marry the Adapite daughters and beget children. Bless us, or by fire all on earth shall be destroyed. Alarm swept through the Anunnaki. Enki, weighing the plea of his son Marduk, spoke with reluctant agreement. If a solution must be sought, my heart sides with the Ejiji, he admitted. What they have done cannot be undone. Ninmah nodded, her voice soft but resigned. Only Enlil raged without restraint. One evil deed has followed another. Fornication that began with Enki and Marduk is now the custom of the Ejiji. Our pride, our sacred mission, abandoned by our own hands, earth and its multitudes shall be overrun. Marduk raised his voice. On Lahmu, survival is impossible. On earth, in my domain, the Ejiji and their offspring may remain. Enlil, furious, left the assembly, his heart plotting vengeance upon Marduk and the earthlings. In the stronghold atop the Cedar Mountains, the Ejiji and their captured spouses dwelt, and children were born there, the first of the children of the rocket ships. Marduk and Sarpanit, two bore sons, Asar and Satu. To the domain above the Abzu, granted for their rule, Marduk invited the Ejiji and their children to dwell in 2 cities he had built for his sons. Some accepted, moving to the dark-hued lands. Others remained upon the landing platform or journeyed east to the high mountains. From the skies, Ninurta observed carefully. How does Marduk grow so strong among the earthlings? What are Enki and Marduk scheming? Enlil, responding through his son, said, The earth by the earthlings shall be inherited. Seek out the offspring of Ka-In and prepare them a domain of their own. Thus Ninurta journeyed across the lands and found the descendants of Ka-In. He taught them tools and music, the ways of mining and smelting, and how to build balsam rafts to cross the great seas. In a new land they established a city, twin towers rising in the sun. This domain was beyond the seas, yet not the mountain lands of the new bond heaven-earth. In the Eden, Lumach served as workmaster, enforcing quotas and reducing rations. His spouse, Batanash, daughter of his uncle, was renowned for her beauty, captivating even Enki. Enki, observing, sent word to Marduk, Summon Lumach to your domain. Teach him how to build a city with earthlings. Lumach obeyed and brought Batanash to Shurubak, the haven city, where she would be protected from the wrath of the earthling multitudes. Yet in a moment both intimate and forbidden, upon the roof of a dwelling where Batanash bathed, Enki took her, and from their union she conceived. Word reached Lumach, a son was born. When Lumach saw the child, his mind struggled to comprehend. White as snow, his hair soft as wool, his eyes bright as the skies, he was unlike any earthling. Astonished, he hurried to his father, Metushal, to reveal the miracle. Is one of the Ejiji the father? Metushal demanded. Batanash swore upon her life, none of the Ejiji is his father. Metushal placed a steadying hand upon Lumach's shoulder. A mystery this child is, yet in his uniqueness lies an omen. In time, the task for which he is destined shall be revealed. And so it was that in days when suffering on earth multiplied, the skies withholding their rains, fields yielding little, ewes birthing only a few lambs, this child, extraordinary and strange, would grow to embody hope. To Lumak and Matushal, Batanash revealed no more, but she named the child Zusudra, he of long bright life days, raising him in Shurubak. Ninmah bestowed upon him her protection and affection. Enki adored him, instructing the boy in the writings of Adapa and teaching him the priestly rites, how to observe and perform them with care. In the 110th Shar, Zusudra was born. He grew and took him Zara for a wife, and she bore him 3 sons. Yet in those days the earth's sufferings intensified. Plagues and starvation spread across the lands. And so the boy of unusual birth, Zusudra, lived under the shadow of both calamity and destiny, the harbinger of things yet to come. The 9th tablet, Earth's tribulations and the secret of Galzu. The earth groaned under its tribulations, the heavy hand of suffering pressing upon both land and sky. The union of Marduk with the daughter of earth had enraged Enlil. The illicit conjugations of the Iji with the daughters of earthlings stirred in him a fury that made his very eyes burn. To Enlil, the sacred mission of the Anunnaki had been perverted. The cries of earth's multitudes, their wailing and shouting became an anathema to his spirit. The earthlings' pronouncements oppress me, he declared to the other leaders, voice trembling with both rage and exhaustion. Their conjugations in sleep, they deprive me. Meanwhile, in the cities and fields, plagues and pestilences laid hold upon the people. Aches, dizziness, chills, and fever seized them, and the earth itself seemed to waver. Let us teach the earthlings to heal themselves, Ninmah pleaded, her voice soft but urgent. Let them learn to remedy their own ills. This I forbid, Enlil retorted, his anger like a storm over a mountain pass. Enki, seeing the parched lands and the barren fields, urged, let us teach them pond and canal building. Let them fish from the seas and sustain themselves. By my decree I forbid it, Enlil thundered. Let them perish by hunger and pestilence. And so for 1 Shah the earthlings ate the grasses of the fields. For the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th they suffered the vengeance of Enlil. In the city of Shurubak, Zusudra's home, the pain became unbearable. With courage born of necessity, Zusudra, spokesman of the earthlings, journeyed to Eridu. He approached the house of Lord Enki and cried out, invoking the name of his Lord, begging for relief, pleading for salvation. But Enki, bound by the decrees of Enlil, could offer only words of sympathy. Even the Anunnaki themselves suffered. Their own rations dwindled, their bodies afflicted by the irregularities of earth and Lamu. The seasons had lost their order. For 1 Shar, then 2, the heavenly circuits from Nibiru were studied. Oddities in the planetary destinies were observed. Black spots appeared upon the sun's face. Flames leapt from its surface, and Kishar, the great host of planets, lost its footing in the dizzying circuits of space. The hammered bracelet, unseen forces tugging and pulling, revealed chaos in the celestial order. The sun, it seemed, was upsetting its own family, and the destinies of the stars were overtaken by unsavory fates. On Nibiru, the savants raised alarms. The people gathered in public squares, voices echoing with fear. The Creator of all returns to the primordial heavens. Angry is the Creator of all. On earth, the tremors and calamities increased. For 3 Shars, then 4, instruments in the White Land were observed by Nergal and Ereshkigal. Rumblings beneath the snow ice of that frozen expanse were recorded, the ice sliding and breaking its footing. In the land beyond the seas, Ninurta's haven instruments forewarned of quakes and jittering beneath the earth's crust. An urgent message was sent to Nibiru. An odd matter is afoot, Enlil reported to Anu. By the 5th and 6th Shar, the celestial disturbances intensified. The savants, filled with dread, warned the king that when Nibiru next neared the sun, earth would be fully exposed to the forces of the heavens. Lamu in its orbit would be powerless, Kisha would be agitated, and the snow ice of the white land would collapse. A watery calamity shall engulf the earth, the savants warn. A deluge, a great wave, shall overwhelm all lands. Fear gripped Nibiru. The king, the counselors, and the savants debated long into the shars. Plans were made for evacuation. In the Abzu, the gold mines were sealed. In Bad Tabira, refining ceased. Celestial chariots prepared to ferry the Anunnaki, empty and ready, while observatories on Nibiru tracked the heavenly signs. It was then that a white-haired Anunnaki descended from a chariot. Majestic, serene, yet carrying authority like a living star, he approached Enlil. I am Galzu, great knower, emissary plenipotentiary of king and council, he announced, presenting a sealed message from Anu. Enlil, surprised, inspected the seal. It was unbroken, authentic, trustworthy. Galzu requested that Enki and Ninmah also be summoned. When they arrived, he smiled at Ninmah, a warmth that seemed impossible across the ages. Of the same school and age we are, he said. Ninmah, startled, could not recall such familiarity. The emissary appeared as young as her son, yet she as his mother. Simple, Galzu explained. By our winter's slumbered life cycles, this is so. His words turned to the matter at hand, secret and grave. Since the days of Dumuzi, returning Anunnaki had been examined. Those who lingered on earth too long were ill-suited for Nibiru's cycles, their sleep disturbed, eyesight failing, their very steps weighted by unseen forces. Minds too were affected, sons older than the parents they had left. Death came swiftly to those who returned unprepared. The three leaders listened, silent and heavy-hearted. Ninmah spoke first, calm and resigned. That much was to be expected. Enki nodded. Indeed, it is clear. Enlil, shaking with fury, roared. Before earthlings became like us. Now we are as earthlings, imprisoned upon this planet. Our mission, our sacred mission, has become a nightmare. From masters, we have become slaves. Galzu's voice softened, compassionate yet firm. Much there is to ponder. On Nibiru, debates rage. Should the fate of Nibiru be left, whatever the Creator of all intends, or was our coming to earth conceived by the Creator of all, making us unwitting emissaries? That debate shall continue. Then, in a voice both secret and binding, he revealed the command from Nibiru. The three of you shall remain on earth. Only in death shall you return to Nibiru. In celestial chariots encircle the earth and outwait the calamity. The other Anunnaki shall choose, depart or stay. The Igigi who have espoused earthlings must choose between departure and spouses. None, not even Marduk Sarpanit, shall journey to Nibiru. All who stay shall seek safety in celestial chariots. All others shall depart immediately for Nibiru. And so the secret was laid bare. The leaders of earth, bound by destiny and decree, faced the coming deluge, the fateful waves that would reshape the world and the lives of mortals and gods alike. The oath and the eve of the deluge. The golden halls of Nibru-Ki gleamed under the eternal light of the heavens, the polished stone reflecting the anxious faces of the Anunnaki assembled. Commanders of the Igigi, the sons of leaders, and the children of their lineages crowded the council chamber, every gaze fixed upon Enlil, whose presence brooked no interruption. My children, my warriors, my comrades. Enlil's voice resonated through the hall, solemn and heavy. To a bitter end has the earth mission come. A hush fell. The weight of the words pressed upon every soul present, the faint echo of doom mingling with the trembling anticipation of the assembly. All who wish to leave, Enlil continued, may do so in the celestial boats already prepared to Nibiru. Yet hear this, if earthling spouses you have, you must depart without them. Those Igigi attached to their spouses and offspring, let them seek refuge upon the highest peaks of earth. A few of us Anunnaki will choose to stay in the boats of heaven aloft in earth's skies. We shall wait the calamity to witness the fate of this world. I, as commander, shall be the first to remain. A murmur rose among the assembly, but none dared challenge the decree. With resolve, Ninurta stepped forward, his voice clear. With my father I choose to stay, the calamity to face, and to the lands beyond the oceans after the deluge I will return, he added, eyes bright with determination. Nanar, Enlil's firstborn, spoke next, his tone odd and contemplative. I shall not wait the deluge in earth's skies, but upon the moon. Enki raised an eyebrow, a shadow of skepticism crossing his face, yet Enlil, after a moment's pause, nodded in approval. Ishkur, the youngest of Enlil's line, declared simply, I will remain on earth with my father. Utu and Inanna, children born of Nanar on earth, announced their choice to stay. Enki and Ninki, steadfast and proud, vowed they would not abandon earth. Marduk's voice rang with fervor and indignation. I shall not desert the Igigi and Sarpanit. One by one, Enki's sons declared their allegiance. Nergal and Jibal, Ninagol, Ningishida, and Dumuzi. And then all eyes turned to Ninmah. With unwavering pride she spoke. My life work is here. The earthlings, my created, I shall not abandon. A murmur of admiration swept through the chamber, but Enlil's face remained grim. His gaze swept across the assembly, and his words fell like thunder. Let the earthlings, for the abominations they have committed, perish. Enki's voice rose in protest, echoing through the hall. A wondrous being by us was created. By us it must be saved. From the very beginning, Enlil thundered, you have modified every decision. To primitive workers you gave procreation. To them you endowed knowing. The powers of the Creator of all you have taken, and even by abominations you have fouled them. With fornication Adapa you conceived. Understanding to his line you granted. His offspring to the heavens you have taken. Our wisdom shared. Every rule you have broken. Every command ignored. Because of you, a civilized earthling brother murdered a brother. Because of Marduk, your son, the Igigi intermarried with earthlings, who is lordly from Nibiru, to whom the earth alone belongs, is now unknown. Enough! The abominations cannot continue. A calamity has been ordained by destiny unknown. Let what must happen, happen. A heavy silence followed. Enlil's eyes, sharp as celestial swords, scanned the room. All leaders shall solemnly swear that these events shall unfold unhindered, he demanded. Ninurta was first to take the oath. One by one, others on Enlil's side followed. Then Nergal, the first of Enki's sons, took the oath, and all of Enki's sons followed. To your command I bow, Marduk said to Enlil, though a shadow of doubt lingered in his voice. But what worth is the swearing? If the Igigi abandoned their spouses, would not fear spread among the earthlings? Ninmah's lips trembled. She whispered the words of the oath faintly, tears brimming. Enlil's gaze turned to Enki. It is the wish of the king and council, he said. Why bind me with an oath? Enki asked. The decision has already been made. On earth it is a commandment. The floodwaters I cannot arrest. The earthling multitudes I cannot save. Why then should I be bound? Let it all happen as if fate decreed it, Enlil pronounced, voice heavy. Let it be known on me alone rests the responsibility forever. Enki turned and left the assembly. Marduk followed him, silent and resolute. Enlil's voice rang out again, commanding order, assigning task with precision. To those departing for Nibiru, chariots were designated, assembly points assigned, and equipment prepared. One after another, the celestial boats roared aloft from Sippar, leaving behind cheers, cries, and muted farewells. Then came Marduk's turn with the Igigi and their earthling spouses. On the landing place he gathered them all. Choose, he said, with me and Sapanit, with our sons and daughters, you may journey to Lamu and wait the calamity in safety, or disperse to distant mountain lands upon earth and find a haven from the deluge. Enlil then oversaw the remaining groups, assigning them to chariots, designating their posts, and arranging their tasks. Ninurta would report on the mountain lands beyond the oceans. Nergal and Ereshkigal would watch the White Land. Ishkur was given the task of barring access, erecting barriers and bolts. Sipar, the place of the celestial chariots, became the center of operations. Here, Enlil moved the tablets of destinies from Nibruki, establishing a temporary bond heaven-earth. To Enki, Enlil spoke quietly yet firmly, however the calamity is survived, let all that has transpired be remembered. Let the tablets of record in Sipar, buried deep in the earth, preserve for posterity all that was done from one planet to another. Enki agreed. Golden chests of Mi tablets and other sacred records were prepared and safely stored in the depths of Sipar. And while the Anunnaki waited, apprehension heavy in their hearts, Enki turned to Ninmah, his sister and companion in creation. In his preoccupation with the earthlings, Enlil has lost attention to the other living creatures, he said softly. When the avalanche of water sweeps over the lands, other living beings, some from Nibiru, most from earth itself, shall be doomed. Let us preserve their seeds of life, extract their essences for safekeeping. Ninmah, giver of life, nodded. I shall do it in Shurubak, you, Enki, with the living creatures of the Abzu. Thus, while the others waited idly, a daring and secret labor began. Ninmah, aided by her female assistants in Shurubat, carefully collected life essences and life eggs. Enki, with Ningishina's help, preserved male and female essences 2 by 2 in the Abzu. In their careful hands, the future of life itself was safeguarded, awaiting the restoration of the earth after the coming cataclysm. And then word arrived. From Ninurta the mountain lands rumbled ominously. From Nergal and Ereshkigal the white land trembled. All Anunnaki gathered at Sipar, hearts tense, eyes skyward, as the day of the deluge approached, silent but for the pounding of anticipation and dread.